Ladies and gentlemen, it's come the moment to go over hand histories with all cards, showing all cards. Face up. Welcome. Let's get started. So, uh, the filter I put on here is for any hands over 25 big blinds. So we have like
All right.
40 hands.
Mm-hmm.
These should be the biggest
Mm.
hands that we have. All right. So obviously this is an open, even nine-handed. I think what happens here is small blind's in an interesting spot. I bet we have some flats here against this EP open. I don't think we'd fold this.
No.
This is NL50, so I think this gets some flats.
Probably some flats. I think could three bet. It's
Yeah.
tough against this. It's gonna be should be a tight range up front. Ooh,
Now this becomes interesting with King Queen, right? Because I would now squeeze more.
yes, me too. I would only squeeze. I would be playing three better fold now.
Yeah. There's no reason to take this in multi. I mean, I think it does okay multi-way,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think you're ever incentivized to take anything,
No.
especially out of position.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah. I would have squeezed this. I would have gone to 14 big blinds.
Here
Now,
we
this
go.
is a very common error that we see where like someone rationalizes this call by saying he's getting odd odds,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just awful.
Yep.
And we can see it right here because he's dominated.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that. Look at that sweet baby.
What are you doing if you're hero here?
I'm checking.
Yeah, I don't think against four other people, I think we're over betting. Yeah, I would check him. Maybe check raise, but I would.
Yeah. All righty.
Yeah, I think that now this becomes. I think you. I think you have to barrel here
I think so.
if you choose this.
Yeah.
This line, I don't think the population is going to check raise you enough, and you can even call check raise this deep, so it doesn't.
Yep.
Barring a check shove. If I chose to bet on flop, I would take this. All right, now comes crunch time.
The block. The block.
You can shove. Well, I think your only options here are to shove or what are our pot odds are 14%, but I don't think that really. I don't think ace nine matters here.
I think yeah, fold.
Do you think our options are shove or fold?
I think so. I mean, the block sizing is not, I mean, I don't think it's a busted draw. It's like something like this hand, or maybe like, I don't know, maybe even like a jack 10 hand, trying to make sure that a king calls or something.
Are you ever putting
I
if you were to, let's say you were in the big blind, you had king jack suited. Are you ever putting your boats into this size? Are you ever protecting your block betting range
thing is, do I ever get to this point with,
when you flop two pair?
yeah, like, I mean, if I don't check raise flop, like, I mean, I know, yeah, I don't think I ever get there, really, like this. And I probably am, I'm just never going to be here in this pre-flops situation. Like, I'm never going to flat in that configuration.
Yeah.
pre-flop, so it's hard to say. But I think, yeah, I think Hero should have. I think they should have checked flop. I think they have to fold now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of other options. Oh boy, but there's another option.
He goes for it. I mean, he has the worst hand to do it, right? I mean, he doesn't want to block his flush draws,
Right.
and
Mm.
he doesn't want to. He's blocking his busted draws in two dimensions, both his straight draw and his flush draw.
Yep.
He gets the fold then.
Oh, man.
Fuck blockers.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's multi-way. I wouldn't bet that flop.
All right, now we have to figure out how this pot gets to over 25 big. So I think what we're gonna have here, tens are gonna open,
Hmm.
fold around to small blind.
Hmm.
He's going to the three better flat, and that's it. So it's P6 versus P2 here.
Hmm. Like if you're not three betting that hand, what are you three betting?
Yeah, this is. I think this is a hand that people like to see fluffs with, and I think that I sometimes am guilty of that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I agree that that's what people's thought process is.
But I think this is a good three bet. I think you're right. I think that people should have an expanded three bet.
I mean, you just don't have, I mean, it's hard to, because it's hard to believe that somebody who is flatting this one, king, queen suited, like, okay, maybe this is in their call range and they have a three bet range with like king 10, king jack suited or something like that. But it's kind of hard if you don't do it with this one to think like you're going to look down at king 10 and be like, yep, here we go.
Yeah, and also at this rake level, you're just incentivized to take these pots down free,
Mhm.
and no flop, no drop. Don't play rake. And you're
Mhm.
playing out of position. Do you have a flatting range here against EP?
Not generally. Not
Yeah.
generally. Not if it's a single raise and sometimes if there's like a bunch of, hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. Um, Sometimes if there's like a bunch of limpers, I might be inclined like with a suited ace or something like that. That can make the nuts. I might just call because I can't get it through. Like I'm just like, I can't, I'm never going to take this down, you know? Um,
In the
through
small
three or
blind,
four.
how many flatters? Let's say we had one flatter. Let's say we got a flatter and button, and you
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
tens through fours. Are you gonna, do you think you have the right odds to sell?
Mhm.
There's a lot of debate about this, obviously. And if you look
Yeah.
in solver, you know, it mixes, but I'm not sure. I mean, you have a very robust three betting. So I'm curious.
So if I, okay. So one thing that I'm going to think about, and I've been doing a better job with this, is for me to think about the opener.
Mhm.
And is the opener a guy who splits his range? If he is, I'll tell you what, I'm a heck of a lot more inclined to flat. Let's see the flop. We'll do a little set mining. Fine. If he's a guy that like pure raise opens, then I'm more apt to say, okay, yes. Because the guys that split their range just have such strong opening ranges. It's not
So,
worth it to like bang into them.
so when you say split their RFI range, you mean have a balanced RFI range where they have.
They have the splits between limps and opens.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, so that, yeah,
So I think that's like one major thought. If it's a guy who is mostly aggressive with opens with his whole range and he doesn't open limp, then I'm gonna know that he has a range of good stuff and not as good stuff.
Mhm.
And so if I have like eights or better in that spot, I'm probably gonna put the raise in.
Okay.
And if I'm worse than that, if I have a worse pocket pair, it kind of depends on the aggression levels of the players. Um, sometimes like I'm not really sure.
Well, if they
Like
have
to
a higher
really,
aggression level, then in the 13% of the time that you do actually flop a set,
yeah,
it has a lot more.
that's
It
true.
has a lot more bottoms.
Hmm. I try to mostly keep myself away from like deuces and threes as far as like
Yeah.
out of position and stuff. Like, I don't know. What's the difference between threes and fours? I don't know. Fours is just a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, you just, yeah, some of those too in the time it's like set up a set. It then becomes more of a backer.
So yeah,
All
but
right. So
here
we get,
I would definitely be three betting the king queen off or king queen
yeah,
suited.
this is not ideal. It's horrible.
Oh
So
yeah,
broken
that's
stack.
no bueno.
So we
They're
see
both
this a lot,
broken
right?
stacks
So
actually. That's interesting.
we get to correlate broken stack play, high
Yeah.
V pips, and what kind of hands that translates to, right? I
Hmm.
mean, you see a broken stack, you see a V pip of like 40, but then when you get to see these hands, heads up play, all hands exposed play,
Hmm.
you begin to translate that V pip number into concrete hands. And these are the kind of hands you see, just total shit.
Hmm.
Nice flop.
Okay. Well, this is how we get to 25 bigs.
Yeah. It's,
Hmm.
um, I think this, so I'm sitting here in position.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking this guy's a broken stack too, by the way. This,
Yeah.
our set has got a broken stack. So I'm thinking 3E. And I'm also thinking about how many hands that they have that can call. And this looks like the kind of board where I think I can get calls. I
Oh
may be
yeah.
influenced by seeing the king queen.
Oh yeah. All sorts of things can call.
But in theory, you're supposed to size down here because it's one play.
Hmm.
I'm not so. I think I shy away from B75 here because I want calls. But that may be a
Hmm.
mistake because
B50.
yeah,
They
yeah,
call with their weak shit, raise the strong shit.
yeah. I think B50 is a good call.
Simple enough. All
So
right.
he's
What?
going hyper exploitative here.
Hmm.
It's fine. This guy
Hmm.
had a check raise opportunity, which he luckily missed.
And like Larry, I think this is super indicative of a lot of players in that, like, now we go to this turn and they're absolutely capped.
Mhm.
Like, if he had fours, he wouldn't have done that. If he had Jack 10, he wouldn't have done that. Maybe even Ace Jack on this very dynamic board. He doesn't do that with. And now he's very much capped here. And I think that that's super common. And it plays into this, right? Like, he didn't three bet pre. That's not the kind of player he is. So he's not going to get aggressive here with a draw when he's got a massive draw here.
Yeah, good point on player class, right? So
Mhm.
flats in the small blind, you can begin to already classify him as a certain kind of player,
Yep.
passive. I mean, this is on ignition, so this wouldn't have any kind of history on this player.
Mhm.
Um,
But I think as soon as you see the small blind flat, when that button calls, like, you kind of in your head have to be thinking like, maybe this guy's got like a legit game, but like he's just seeing three and seeing what happens.
yeah.
Okay. Now we're
So
here.
I wonder if Hungry Horse and how he classifies players
Mm-hmm.
means that kind of almost like a adjustment to Hungry Horse. Strategy would be to expand your check raising range, right? So this hand would go from probably check raising 40% if we looked at
Mhm.
solver to
Mhm.
probably like maybe 60%, 70%.
Quite possible.
Anyway,
Because in Hungry Horse, you're over c-betting in position in a spot like this.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, essentially he's saying, if I recall, C bet range
Pretty
in
much.
position against out of position player in
Mhm.
SFP.
Honestly, Alexander Fitzgerald used to say the same thing. That was like the first, when I was first getting into poker, like, I don't know, he had like 3 things that you should do or something. And I had them written down. And I just used to do those things all the time. And
Shout out to the OG Aficionado.
yeah. I mean, and that was like, it was like, honestly, open and then c-bet a little bit more than half pot. If it's an ace high board, just half pot.
Yeah.
And like, you don't have to know much more than that, and you can be pretty good. All right,
Yeah.
so this guy's gonna check. He's gonna come to us. What size are you gonna use here, Larry?
Look at
Oh
that.
no, I didn't see that. Oh, that's interesting.
I didn't see that coming. So
Hmm.
now this is an interesting spot because you've got, so your estimated equity, if this was in solver, would be 95%,
Mm-hmm.
90%. Uh, and this guy just bet into you and you're in position. What are you doing here?
This one is actually a little tricky. Had he
It
checked to me,
is.
I was gonna bet a lot. I was gonna bet like 15.
Mhm.
Um, leaving me with just over a pot size bet on the river. Now this is interesting. So he didn't check raise me. We get this inconsequential 6, and he's donking at me. I don't understand.
I know the six is totally. So there is an argument to be made that the theory that, if we try to understand fish mind here, he's trying to set his price.
To draw. I don't know. It's kind of an expensive draw price. I feel like 2/3.
Yeah, yeah, this is usually going to be a B30 if that's the strategy.
What do I
He's
do?
actually not giving himself the right odds.
It's hard to know because I'm seeing what his hand is here, what I would have done, because I'm not 100% sure how I would react to this. I wonder, I said I wanted to make it 15. I wonder if I just make it 15. Like, I don't know what he's doing, but I want to get this so that I have the right SPR on the river or whatever I'm doing. Because I don't think his range, I have a hard time believing it's like anything's really good. It almost feels like this is how he's protecting some like weak jack or something like that. Like if he had like queen jack or some jack 9 or something like that. I don't know. Like he's like, let's slow this thing down, try to bet this and like keep the pot smallish. But again, like the sizing isn't really that. I'm not sure how I would react to this in game.
Yeah, you can either, I mean, so there's an argument for flatting, right? Because you have so much equity.
Mhm.
Maybe with lesser hands like ace jack or queen jack, king jack. We raise at a higher frequency, but we have this much equity. Maybe we don't in position. However, your argument that we really want to get to an SPR below 1 on river does make sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there's
Yeah,
arguments for both sides.
yeah, I think look at that.
So that
The old
click
min
makes
click.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's not. I'm okay with that. I'd probably go maybe a smidge bigger. Yeah,
yeah,
I
it doesn't quite get us to the pot size we'd like.
think we want to go a little bit bigger than that. But yeah, I think we want to
Like
get to like
18.
something like that. Yeah, right. So that's gonna make it it's gonna put 10 more in there. So it's gonna be instead of 36 be 46. And we would be just under 50. So I think that's closer to, that's kind of a sucky card now, but it's equally sucky for him.
I don't know. This is a tough spot. It's hard to get called too, right? Like what worse calls you?
Yeah. Yeah. Like this is the dilemma here.
Um, but this is so far up in range. I think if this is the jack of diamonds and you had the spade, you could bet. But I think here it's kind of hard to bet because what's gonna fucking come?
Yeah.
But he
He
was
went
like,
check.
he doesn't. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah. I kind of think so. I think that this is not right. I think this is not right. I don't think this is what we want to do on this turn or on this
On
river.
this river. Yeah,
I
well,
think,
we don't. I mean, I think people do this because they already had this in their strat.
Mhm.
And also, I think this is kind of tough decision avoidance
Yeah.
syndrome, if you would, because he is taking away his need to make a tough decision if he gets check jam.
Yeah.
So by
So I
doing
think,
this, he's saying, I think part of this is that I just want to avoid a tough decision.
yeah. But it doesn't, and I think that maybe the other part of it is there's this instinct that it is making a tough decision for the out of position player. But I don't think it really makes it that tough. Like they're just gonna call off they have a flush
Yeah, uh,
and then they're gonna fold.
yeah.
Like if they have like King Jack or Queen Jack here, they're not folding to this pot, this like 2x pot
Should
bet.
we talk about targeting? Like, are we
Yes,
gonna do
that's
some targeting here?
yes. That was exactly what I thought we should do here. Like this is we have a very good hand. It's not impenetrable, but like I also don't think this guy bets calls turn and then is going to be the patient type to not bet his flush. Like if he had it.
Yeah.
Um, if he had like a 6 of spades or whatever, he's not gonna check to us, I don't think, with that. So I think he has very few flushes here. But he might have a good number of weak jacks. And those weak jacks, I don't know, what are they gonna pay? I think they pay half pot, 18,
Yeah,
20, something like that.
I think you put in half pot. That sounds right. You put in like 16, 17 big buttons. And then, if he check shoves,
Sucks.
you have to make a really tough decision
Hmm.
and probably lean towards fold.
Yeah, because it's gonna be such an underbluffed line.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the jam is not what you want here. Like this guy is, in my estimations, quite capped. And I think all you do is fold every better hand.
Yeah, I think the shove just essentially makes the game very easy for P2 here.
Yeah.
When you shove, he calls with his flushes and folds everything else. Unless he's got like whatever, maybe a straight with a.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a straight 7 up. And maybe this straight with like a,
Queen 9.
with a queen of spades. Yeah. Yeah, this just makes the game too easy for villain.
Yeah.
All right. Next hand. I think. Are you on P6? Are you going to 3-bet this
Hmm.
against the queens? Here? I
Again,
think flat's the
I think you
worst, right?
can. I think it's the worst thing that I mean, I think it's the worst king you're gonna do that with for sure. But um I think it is gonna be in there. Um I think it's gonna be King 10. I don't think you're gonna have any of the Queen X's suited. It's gonna be a pretty snug range here. And this is probably in it. But I think you gotta do some thinking about again who the opener is if you know. Um but I would go for it in a lot of cases.
Yeah. So I think this
I
is my
wouldn't do
first
that.
choice.
I don't, it's just gonna invite callers behind here. Oh, I'm surprised that guy didn't call there. Okay, this is as good as it gets. That's as bad as it's gonna get for us. Okay,
So I think P4 checks here. I think this is a really good. Again, it could be influenced by seeing the hands, but you're really motivated to get money in. I think
hmm
there's a lot of check raising you can do there with queens.
although, yeah, I've been playing a lot of checks, out of position checks here, like out of position check range.
Yeah, in theory, we should be. I mean, this is actually,
I would think this board is like crazy good for us. Well,
this is actually a good texture to C bet out of position. Like, I think solver finds C bets here a lot.
yeah, well, this P6 call is never a thing, so the theory of it is kind of lost a little bit.
I prefer check
This,
raise. I think a check raise here has the value. Just if you want to grow a pot and you want to grow a pot fast, you do it with the check raise.
yeah, it stinks when it checks through, but can definitely get juicy. He went with the
He's
big
playing a check
sizing,
raise
so
now. All right, so I think you got it. So it's a scary run out. It's true. The jack's not ideal. But you have too much equity not to check raise here. Because you also vote up. I don't think you just call it. Well, what are you doing here?
I feel like I would not give away the lead here. Um,
Yeah, good point.
like there's, I mean, I know the ace 10 came in, but we did bet with big sizing, like should only have 4 combos of ace 10. I would keep betting, and I think I would probably keep betting around half pot, something like that. Not too big, something around 9 or 10 bigs. Now when I check, now when I check, uh,
Let's see if he gets what he wants. Okay, now he
I
bets
mean,
like
I
a
mean, he could have,
B30.
I mean, he could have King Jack here. He could have Queen Jack. He could have like Queen 10, Jack 10, King 10, like he has. I mean,
So your
there's
SPR is
definitely
around 3. You just can't be scared of
ace 10.
4 combos of ace 10 and 4
I
combos.
think you're right. I think you gotta be kind of fearless here. You want to make sure this SPR gets to 1. So this is gonna be like 836
So he
if
never
we
has
call.
he never had kings, and so he only has 8 combos that beat you, I think.
He
Yeah,
only has to
I
say
think
that again. 8 combos of
he's got 8 combos of ace 10. So he's
mhm.
got 4 ace 10 suited, and he's got 4 10-9 suited.
I think the 10-9 suited is a pretty tough call to the whatever it was, B66, B75 on flop.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Might have maybe 3 with backdoor flush draw. Seems like the heart one, maybe. I don't know. I think, yeah, I think we got to kind of go for this, and we have probably a ton of equity, even if we are behind. Um,
Yeah, I think I check raise here. So like
what do
I would check raise to like
we, 50, 70,
24. So 24.
25? Yeah. It's going to make it kind of a smaller, it's going to make it less than 1 SPR on the river, but I think that's okay. This is also a place where you want a guy to be kind of stuck and feel like, let's say he has king 10 and this bricks off, that it doesn't feel like a very big bet. And he feels like, oh man, I got top pair. I got the call.
Mhm. So no one's folding an open ender in top pair.
No,
I think I would have gone bigger. Let's
no.
click back. I think I would have gone like 24.
Yeah, I would have went a little bit bigger too. Would have went bigger too. Because I think Yeah, it didn't, and it didn't make the pot quite big enough, right? Like if you had went, yeah, like you said, like 8 more, there's 16 more in the pot. So it's, 62 and, 68. And then it's like pot size. We have a little bit less than pot size. See, this is no, 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 no. We didn't check raise it to get half of it here. We check raise it to get all of it. There's plenty, like this didn't change the situation. This 8. Like I feel like guys think this 8 changed the situation. Like if 9-10 was beating you, it is still beating you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm putting them all in.
Yeah, but and it's just
There's too many two pairs that he's flatting here.
yeah.
I think you're blocking a lot of it.
We're not blocking King Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
Mm.
discipline fold.
See, yeah, but we could have made his life more difficult because he would have called on the turn for more. He would have called another 10 bigs on the turn.
Yeah.
Right? And then if he has a stack that's 10 bigs less and the pot is 20 bigs bigger, you know, it's just it makes it a little bit more difficult, I think, to find this fold. I suspect he probably still finds it, but it's tougher.
Yeah. Yeah, this is too small. So
Yep.
I think we can agree that his XR on turn was too small and his value bet here was too small.
Yep. 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 Mhm.
Ace nine, well, we got a broken stack with ace nine. Which gets
Oh
interesting,
yeah.
right? So
He's
'cause
probably gonna. Yeah, he should
the
be in
value
there.
of his hand is a lot less because he doesn't have the implied odds. Here's got ace two. Ace nine's gonna open because he doesn't GF. He's
Hmm.
broken stack.
Oh, 3.5. 3.5.
Which is important here because this is like, there's always a debate, at least for me. Well, is this bigger RFI size very linear because he's a fish? So is this always the top of range? Let's see now. In this particular case, it's not. Um, Ace two is kind of in a weird spot. So I think ace two might become a fold because you don't have the implied odds with the
Right.
wheel.
And like, yeah, and look at the stacks. You're gonna play, you're not on the ace deuce is not on the button here. Right? And then you have a player behind you who covers you, and then you have 2 tiny stacks. Like, it's a fold.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't have the implied.
I think it should fold around, but is the king 7 gonna play? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's good. Well, I don't think that's good. Everybody's got live cards.
We're doing it live, folks.
Oh, I don't know what he's gonna get value from, but that's nice. We got the jacks.
Let's see if we get a donk party here. Oh, that
Whoa.
is
Whoa.
cray cray.
Like I don't guys do this all the time.
Yeah, well,
All the time.
and this is what's interesting about seeing this face up, right? This hand obviously gets showdown because we can see the equities,
Yeah.
but
Like you guys
it
like
allows
don't
us to understand what's going on. So th- if we were to go into the head of this recreational player, I think the answer is he's thinking, I've got, well, I'm the aggressor, right? I
yeah.
opened, I got two flatters, and I've got an over, and I've got backdoor equity two ways,
I don't know if they're thinking that deep about it.
maybe.
I think
Maybe
they're
he's
just
just thinking,
thinking a little flex here. I read a book once, they said you got to be aggressive.
so this is an inner.
Yeah, there's no way you should raise here. 0 raising. Why would one
He's got to
raise?
call it off. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't think
Uh,
so against the size, never. The only, well, we can go through this thing quickly because neither of us are gonna be in the spot with broken stacks. So Must call them all.
Oh my
Right.
god. Oh my god.
It's not dead.
What? But now P1 can complain about how dumb P9 was pre-flop. Oh, you should never have been in there with that hand. Well, that's true, but like I just don't understand that you can bet a third pot there and pick it up every bit as often as by doing that pot bet. Like,
Yeah, there's a good point. I mean,
you can bet two bigs there
it's
and
important to
get it
be
just as often.
aware of kind of how population is inelastic. Like your size doesn't, in a way. That's not
Yeah.
gonna really affect, especially on this board, except with maybe 9, 10.
Well, all right.
This
That was
happen.
pretty terrible. Are these your hands, by the way?
No, these are Mike's hands.
Okay.
All right, so broken stacks.
Yep. Oh, well, this is gonna be unfortunate. It's just gonna, is he just gonna get in here? I don't know.
Well, we don't.
We're not on the button. No, we're not on the button. We're cut off here. Okay.
My guess is that he downsizes here because he got a broken stack. He really wants to keep in P5. He does.
Oh, that's a piddling little thing. Hmm.
So again, we're beginning to see trends. I mean, sometimes this is not top of range premium discount. Sometimes this is just like a. In this case, we can see it's premium discount going.
I wouldn't go that big. Ugh. Now you like got a call, right? It's like 20 to win 90. Well, like I could see going 15 here because then
Yeah,
it's
15, like I would say 12, maybe. 15, I think
something,
was fine
yeah,
too.
because it's going to just define his range pretty
And
well. Like,
also, one thing to think about if you've got a full stack here is that his broken stack, when you re-raise, is much more likely to show.
Mhm.
He's only got 40 behind. I actually, I think flat with this
Yeah,
combo because I know that he's got an easily shovable stack. And I'm
yeah.
playing in position, right? I'm probably gonna lose it anyway, but whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you can do either. I definitely don't think you want to do the 25. That's just bonkers. Like we don't have to have a very big four bet sizing here in position. Like you said, we could do the 12. I said the 15, but we could be just as we can honestly be just 10 and probably fine.
All right, here's a question for you. If you go 10 here,
Mhm.
he rejams. What's your calling?
He jams.
He jams over your full bet.
I don't care how big the stack is. The five bet jams are like we're at best flipping. At best.
Yeah, I think I'm probably queens plus, ace king suited.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
like we were just
well, I was going through a hand history review this weekend and it was like, you just put ace king in here with this guy. So I'll go with, I'll go with queens pluses.
yeah, I mean it's just the five bet jam for however much is just very, very strong.
Agreed.
It's just never you're never like, oh look, ace 10 suited. No.
Yeah, it's not ace five suited.
Yeah. Yeah. But
All
now,
right, so,
now I don't know that you can,
well, let's look. So your pot odds are 23 here,
which is almost the direct.
which is almost the direct odds we can give him.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
calls it on.
Oh, well, that's one way to do it.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you, sir. I'm gonna have another.
yeah. Oh, that's looking good. Should have run it twice. Uh,
So
oh,
we've got two
another
big
phone.
stacks here.
Yeah, this is gonna be, yeah.
Are you increasing your OOP 3-bet size? If you're at 100 for big blinds? Effective.
Yes, a little bit.
Let's
I've
see
just
what
been trying to
size.
do it bigger in general. Yeah, so I'm gonna be at maybe 13 here, something like that, 14 maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's too
It's too
small.
small. And I
Too
think the theory is that, I mean, your SPR now is going to be approaching 11 or 12 or something.
Mhm.
So you're really motivated to reduce SPR in theory out of position.
Yeah,
And I have a question for you because I've not looked into that much. I think the essential argument for reducing SPR out of position is that you're taking away the ability for in position to put you in an unpleasant spot by shoving on turn to X pot or shoving on turn to X pot. And
I
I
think
think that's the argument
that seems
for
pretty
reducing
reasonable.
SPR to decrease in positions equity utilization. I think, I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, this is as bad as it gets.
Oh man, you
Now I went over a hand like this before this weekend. Um, and the question becomes how you increase your 4-bet range, right? You've got you've got a combo in P8 that's always capped. You're
Mhm.
sitting here with your RFI range. I think this now becomes, I think you expand your 4-betting range because you've got them. This P8 is rarely going to have, sometimes rarely going to have a trap.
Yeah, I agree. I
And I
agree.
don't think it's usually this combo. I think usually it's like hands with
Ace
implied
queen.
odds.
I don't know. Ace queen, eights, nines, tens, jacks.
Yeah, sometimes it's someone who just wants to like. I think what happens here is that P8 says to himself, "I really want to see a flop, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I want to see three, as you said before." Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
just gonna flop that. But my question for you is, if you're P2, how are you expanding the 4-bet? Take advantage of, arguably, to exploit this capped range of the flat and 3-bet.
I think you want to, I mean, as always consider who these players are, but I think you could. I mean, this one is it's really tricky. I think you could flip a coin on this. Um,
On ace jack suited.
yeah, because I mean it's just it's nice you're playing in position here. Um, against, P8's probably gonna play very face up when this flop comes out. Like you're not gonna have to worry about too much. It could go either way. I don't know. I think it would depend largely on my perceptions of the two players and whether or not the three better in particular was somebody that was ever going to fold.
All right, let's
Um,
look at these for a second. So this is a, I'm going to, let me see what this is. I'm gonna try changing the screen. Okay, V share. That's not what I want. All right, can you see the wizard?
yep.
All right, so obviously we don't have a flat behind because that's not something that we're supposed to do. So now we've gotten back to UTG versus after
Yep.
a free bet from the small blind.
Yep.
So the question is, how do we expand this range, right? So I think ace queen now becomes four. I think ace five and ace four. Go for it. here becomes a four bet. And I don't think you want to take anything multi-way. You're not incentivized to do that. So I think we start to four bet.
Mhm.
Do you think there's anything else you'd add to the four bet range here? Or do you think this is totally off base and you have more flats? Do you think we flat aces? You think we just call?
Mm-mm. No, aces wants to pile money in here. You have a three bet and two play and another player that's like thought about this, and you're in position. You just want to get money, more money in. Be greedy about it.
Yeah.
Be greedy about it.
Do you think this expansion of the four bet range is a little too aggressive, or do you think this is appropriate?
I think it's all right. I think it's all right. Um, I think the only caveat to this is if you have like a guy that's like a, you know, 5% three better or something like that, you got to be pretty careful about expanding. I think you're more inclined then to flat um
Playing position.
and play in position.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, you can see the replay.
Yep.
Let's see what our hero chooses. What does PT choose here? Chooses
Okay. It's fine. Oh, 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 oh. This probably is a range bet board. But man, it's juicy with this configuration.
Yeah, you're in no man's land. Right? There's no solve for this. And I think generally I'm gonna see bet here, and then I'm gonna shut down if I get calls.
Yeah, I could think he could go even smaller with this C bet. He went 10. I think he could be like 7 or 8. 11. He went 11. I think that's too big, personally.
Agreed.
Uh,
So this is an interesting spot, right? So for P2, he's
yeah.
got it back to one.
Hmm.
I wonder if you can overfold this.
I think it's hard to fold here given the price and the stack depth you have with P7.
Yeah.
I think you got to call one time, see what happens. Yeah.
So if I was
Okay.
P7 at this point, I would slow down. I would actually check this.
I would check. Once I get called in two spots, like nothing good is going to happen here by betting.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, Caleb. Or Caleb, if I mispronounce, sorry. Yeah, good check.
And then check, check. I think we should go with another check. Yep.
Hmm. Can you blocker multiplayer? I don't think you have a big bet.
I think you want to just check here. Oof. I don't know. I mean, maybe the blocker is good because like does it force a jack to call and keep a king from betting bigger than you want them to? Like if you bet like, I don't know, 10.
So in theory, I think if you block a bet, you're still supposed to get called by a worse hand. But I think there is also a human element where you're also setting the price.
Hmm.
That's, outside of theory. Yeah, I like a blocker here. I like a blocker to like 10, especially after we get a check through,
On the turn.
and that includes the imposition player.
Check, check. Hmm.
All right. We're gonna have some fireworks.
Yeah.
I think ace queen is gonna make an incorrect call. And we got a flat here. P6.
Yeah, with the sevens.
And then sizing up, I don't think we would use this larger size online. But live you will use this larger size, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty
Because
accustomed to that.
you want to discourage flats.
Mhm. Fold, fold. Yep.
Okay, now what size are you doing?
Oh, I think we're gonna go 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah, I think 16 is better when it's a 3x open. 15 is fine. So this is a fold. I think P1 folds
Hmm.
in theory.
I think you're probably right. What is button cutoff, hijack, low jack, under the gun, one against big blind open. I think it the call is kind of
Oops. Rings.
ace queen off fold.
Yeah, it's just the reverse implied odds of this combo are really shitty in this configuration. So even though you're going to play in position, it's just, well, you're in the middle of the sandwich. We're supposed to fold it. I don't know if people do that.
I don't know if people do either once they decide to open it. I don't know if I do.
I fold this.
It's probably a smart thing to do against
I,
players that don't three bet enough too.
yeah, well, you know that like big blind squeezing range doesn't have ace five suited that much. Doesn't have the suited connectors like 8-7 through 5-4 suited that much. And when you see pull out those combos, it becomes even
Mhm.
more CB. I don't think he's going to fold
Nope, he's not a quitter.
them. Sevens become interesting. Let's say you had sevens here when you did. Now you've got, it's a big investment to set, right? It's what,
Hmm.
12 big blinds, which are against two ranges that can hit.
Yeah, we play in position.
I don't think so. I'm just going to look. CTG up on
I think we probably should get out of the way, but
Let's just look here.
it's an enticing spot.
So this is the raise, button call, big blind squeeze, GG call, back on button.
Ooh,
So
it's
you're getting
interesting.
it. Yeah, you're getting the odds to call here.
The middle ones call less, and the ones on the bottom and the top call more. The pocket pairs fold the 7, 8s, 9s at some frequency.
Hey, John, welcome. So I think that these sevens just have implied odds, and the same goes with the suited connectors.
Mhm.
Implied odds multi-way even. So you're getting the implied odds to with these. I guess you can use the term speculative hands.
So what's he gonna do here?
Yeah,
He's down. All right. I think it's
doesn't want
reasonable.
anything to do with it. This is why you don't. This is why you don't call it.
Yep.
Sizing, I think, is fine.
Yep. What are you gonna do? Oh, there you go, Larry. That's how you do it. That's why you
What you're
call.
gonna do is have your bad play rewarded, which is why poker's profitable. So he checks. What do you think? I think it's a good check on this rookie queen.
I think it's a good check.
I think his SPR. What's the SPR here? It's like
1 in a little bit.
Yeah. Like a 1.2, 1.3, 1.5 actually, I guess. So, would you ever trap check here?
Would I ever what?
Trap check in position, like P1 just did.
No, I would not here. I would be, I think we would go small bet size here. We don't need to go, I want to get this to 5 bet 25 here. And he calls. That is going to be a little over 100. And he is going to have a bit more like than 50. It's going to be very hard for him to call 2 half pot bets, I think. I think we want to go 25 here.
Yeah. I think you're motivated to get money.
Oh, geez. Did he check? He checked. Oh, no, no, this is bad. It's bad. Ooh. Oh, yeah.
That's
Well,
discipline,
that was
Paul.
pretty disciplined. That was pretty disciplined.
Well played, sir.
Oof. I guess. Queens.
Are you three betting the king 10 full frequency here on button ace
Yes.
gate?
Yes, I am. 2.5. No.
This is horrible.
Oh, what's Mike gonna do here?
Here's,
Yeah, good
here's
discipline.
good.
Good discipline.
Mike, if you're watching this, good follow.
Yeah. That's hmm, a little over half pot. Okay. Ooh, ooh. Min click, right?
Mhm.
I just call.
Agree.
Uh, What are
So
we
he
doing here?
turned equity, right?
Yes.
Think in principle we do this. In theory, turn equity, get after it.
Oh boy. Okay. Hard to imagine the ace was particularly helpful to him. Like when he check raised flop. Like what ace X combo is he check raising? And then happy to see on the turn, you know? Like how did that help him? Any draw is still drawing. I mean, maybe he had ace 8.
I think you have a good point. So what do you, let's say you chose to check raise this in small blind. Well, you're never gonna have this, right?
I'm never
So
gonna
let's say
have
you
it.
have this in the big one. And you get this
I
ace of hearts, which increases your equity, right? But we know for our combo, not ideal.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't think that he is incentivized to bet a lot of his ace X
No, after you check
on
raise.
on
I
that.
might check here. I think you've got a good argument for checking out of position with Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it kind
Check
of
call,
we can play a check call, no problem, right? Like we
right?
have a
Drawing the
ton.
nuts.
Yeah, we could have the best hand. And we have a killer draw. Like we don't have to turn this hand into a bluff
You've
right
got
here.
marginal showdown with the draw the nuts.
Yeah.
I think you can go either way. Okay, now you're hoping for a check.
Now we're do we just check?
Yeah, you check back.
Like I don't know. Doesn't seem like once you bet the big sizing on the turn, you bet that B75 on the turn with the ace hits. I mean,
You're
like
turning your 10 into a bluff.
And I don't think that you have to bet particularly large here to win this hand. Right? Like if you had like I don't know how you end up here with an ace, but like the draws with the 8 bricked, the backdoor hearts bricked. I don't necessarily think that you want to have the hearts in your hand when you do it, but like even if you bet like 20 here, it's really tough to see what decides to call you on this run out, you know? Seems like a kind of hungry horse setup where you're like big with value and small with bluff.
It's like a B30.
Yeah, like he folds a ton. And if he ever has an ace, like he's never folding, so don't sweat it.
Mhm.
But if he has like 7-8 or 8-9, I do think that this is a heavy check back spot for the imposition player. I think that this particular hand is probably in the bet thing because it is vulnerable to the ace and the king, but I would bet you like the kings and the ace play heavy check. I don't even, maybe it's a range check just with the texture of this board because it's a
Mhm.
not good board for us. Um, would be my thoughts.
I like a blocker here. Makes sense. All right. Queens against ace queen, I would imagine, unless B2
Hmm.
does something dumb. The other question, okay, let's see how this runs out.
Oh,
All right, now this gets interesting. I would go 5.5 here.
I've been going a little bit bigger here, 6 or 7.
So what's your motivation for that? So I think there's,
Um,
I'm just curious why.
I don't think that these limp ranges are all that elastic when it comes to the sizing here. They're they're whether it's 5 or 6 or 7, I think they're kind of like, it's just a little bit more. Let's get in there and see those 3 cards.
So is
Um,
your bigger size linear? So are you using a bigger size with your aces, kings, and queens?
I'm using the bigger size with just like my range is not changing
Okay.
that I'm using. And it also just makes it such that when they limp call, check, I see bet, I've picked up just an extra big blind or two every time that happens, and that happens at high frequency. So
So
it's
you're
just,
going to 6 or 7 with your entire range,
yep.
your entire ISO range. Okay, makes sense.
Think I'm going probably to 4.5, maybe 3 times the one, then plus the blinds.
Hmm.
Yeah, John,
Yeah,
I think that's the uh,
standard.
standard. And
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard. And but I think that um getting just that extra big blind or two kind of adds up over time against these guys that have very weak limping ranges and play very passively.
Deep stack, I think I want him in. I'm gonna be, yeah, get him in the pot. The worst cards, he's weak just by limping in. So why not play against him a pot?
Yeah, I'm not trying to get folds, and I don't think they're folding.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that they're too cerebral about, well, it's 4 bigs versus 5 bigs versus 6 bigs. Like, as long as it's not like double digit bigs, they're like, yeah, that seems about right. Let's do that.
Okay. Yeah.
so
Yep.
one adjustment that Alexandra Romania makes is that when she's three betting, she's actually adding a couple big blinds with the very top of range. So her aces, queens, and queens.
Hmm.
And her argument is exactly what you're saying. Number one, it's not exploitable because people aren't going to notice over time. They do, most likely.
Right.
And yeah, let's juice the pot at the very top of range. So I wonder if that can also apply to ISO. Where with our aces, kings, queens, would be ace, king, in that situation. We go a little bit bigger just for some reason. Or maybe we just do it with all of our range. The argument. But yeah, I
Yeah,
do like a bigger size.
Alright, so, and then I think the ace, king, ace, queen, ooh, the six, yeah, and then
Who's
the ace,
listening to you?
yeah,
So what do you think
ace,
you do with ace, queen here?
oh, I three bet. Cause I know these limpers are gonna, they're just, looking for an excuse to put more money in the pot, and if I put some money in the pot, they're gonna, with a call, they're gonna say, ah, pot odds, let's see what happens here, and I'm gonna be out of position with no prayer, so I am gonna make this 25.
Hey, order. 25 makes sense. So let me see, 25 is like 4x plus a little bit extra. Because
Yeah.
there's so many people in the pot. You can see that. Let's see what size it does.
Nope.
Bad choice, so I don't want to play this flat out of position. So I might have gone a little bit small on you. I might have gone to like 20, but I think going 4x is good.
Mhm.
This is horrible.
Here we go. Here we go. Let's play four ways out of position.
So this is an argument for using a bigger, is it a squeeze as a three bet? Who knows? Using a bigger squeeze or three bet size here. Out of position.
Hmm.
You just really don't want to take.
Oh, he folded.
Oh, this guy fold before.
Yeah, P4 folded.
Interesting.
Well,
We know we get to showdown because we can see the equities. I would check a lot here.
you think?
Multi-way out of position,
Oh,
but it's a four bet pot. We're
three
in the
bet
Wild
pot.
West
Well,
here.
no. This. Oh, yes. This is a single raise pot.
Oh,
Yes, I
sorry,
would.
this is a
Sorry,
single
I'm
raise pot.
thinking about what I would do. I would probably be unlikely
Yeah,
to check if this was a three bet pot,
with the queens. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is an SRP.
but I am going to check in this position since I have flatted.
Yeah, I'm incorrect. These flats fine. Check, check. Now the question becomes, what does P5 do?
I think he should check. He just wants to get one street closer to showdown.
Multi-way especially.
Yeah.
Did you guys say you would three bet with the
Ace queen
pre-flop?
pre.
Pre-flop?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah,
John?
I agree. Yeah. Try to
Yeah,
get
I
heads
think
up.
you just really don't want to take any hand multi-way if you can avoid it. I think this hand is, it might be cuspy, but I think out of position, you're gonna make more. Three betting slash four betting, whatever it
I
is.
mean, it all depends. It all hinges on P5. Like if P5 is an aggressive player, then ace queen is a no um no debate three bet. If seat 5 is like a 10-10 guy or something like that, then don't waste your time. But if
So
he's an
multi-way, I think you've got a good point, Sutton, about flatting this. You've got what is now marginal showdown. With some backdoor equity.
yeah,
This might be the rare spot where we can flat behind here.
like what the two ranges that you're against just have so many junky aces and they're gonna call
I think
every
the
time.
important, yeah, we've got to range our opponents here. They call it ISOs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I might just check it.
I
Yeah, I
would
think
check.
the argument for checking here is good. This is different than, obviously, this is very different than a three bet pot. There's one were multi-way and two was just an ISO. I think flatting. I think, sorry, checking is better.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Succeeded. Didn't hit anything. Okay, I think now we check your,
Check, check, okay.
what are you gonna do with your ace queen now?
With ace queen.
Well, you're never here, right? Because you always threw.
Yeah, I'm not here, so. It, man, it feels like it's pretty good, honestly. I mean, obviously the jack was, I think, a scarier card for them than it is for us. Like they checked because I presume they thought, oh, well, middle pair is a good card. Um, that the player would call with on flop. And there's, yeah, I mean, he could have a bunch of different ace X hands that we beat. I mean, ace 10, ace 8, ace 7, ace 6, ace 5. I mean, basically like every ace X combination we beat except for ace king.
He's
Um,
capped, right?
so yeah, I mean, I think you can go. I think you could, because you don't really want this to go check, check.
Small bet,
And it,
flop,
yep,
check. You don't want to go check. Yeah. What
I think
size would you? I can't decide between a blocker sizing or a B50. I think B75 is too much.
yeah, I think you want to, I think you want to be around B50 here with the range that is likely behind you. I don't know, how much would ace 10 call?
Yeah.
Like, I would think between 15 and 20.
Anybody else have a thought on sizing it? John, Skate, Carter?
Hey,
Sort
what's
of
up?
worried about reopening the betting at that point. So you played it so passively, like it's hard to know where you're at. So
Yeah, I think
I'd be,
being out of position makes it interesting, right? Because he could still bet. I mean, you can make the argument that you want to check call. I mean, check call, I think is okay here. What do you think, Skate?
I think that the points you guys mentioned before is good. I think that ace queen is good enough as played to value bet and not let it go check check.
Yeah, what size would you like to use?
Yeah, so I was debating between the 50 and 75. Um, um, yeah, I'm actually not sure, but in game now I would probably go somewhere around um I guess somewhere around 50, like 15 BBs.
Yeah, I don't think you can be sure, frankly. I think that,
Yeah.
first we're off solve. And second, it's just, kind of a great error. Yeah, I think B50 is good. He chooses check call, I assume. This is really dumb. This
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
make any
that's,
sense, right? You're reopening the action. And for not that much money.
what are you hoping calls you, like tens?
Yeah, this is
Eights?
dumb. I mean, the big question for me is what do you do if he pots it?
Fold?
This is just not worth it. It's just not worth it. You get paid. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah, that was not smart.
Alright. I think our hero is gonna open. Our hero is Mike, by
Yeah.
the way, guys. He's not here right now.
Open, bottom of the range with the suited kings.
So when I look at this, I'm saying to myself, how do we get to a 25 big pot? Or 50, whatever it is. My filter is. It's really hard to understand. The only thing I can think is that T5 chooses to incorrectly defend. Yeah, this isn't a defend against EP.
No.
This is a mistake.
Oh,
Now we
look at,
understand why.
oh boy, all sorts of juicy stuff going on here.
True. And we could see, I mean, this is kind of another interesting part of looking at these, is that in position player actually is in the lead here. It's got so much equity here with the gut shot and the flush draw. Now this is really horrible. What are you guys doing if you're in position?
I, this is an interesting spot. I, th- I think probably just call, like, cause you can't, it's so hard to get a top pair hand to fold here. And I think with this over half pot sizing, it's very commonly an ace.
Yeah.
Um. And so I think it's very difficult. I think we've talked about this before, smaller bet size. Um. Smaller bet size, you can think more draws, but the bigger bet sizing.
Especially with a donker on a board that shouldn't be donked, is, I think, generally gonna play face up with sizing. I think sizing tells in this situation, in this configuration, it's dynamic, if you would, are there. I think that there's the sizing tells it. The way I would play this, try not to think about the cards, is I would call here on flop, and I'd aggressively raise a lot of turns. Going to, if he chooses to bet again, I would raise him his bet plus pot. Let's see, I think hero, well, hero can go either way. Flats.
I think they can do whatever he wants. I think there is an incentive to raise because the SPRs are pretty big.
Yeah, that's a good point about SPRs. Total blank, see if I get scared,
Did he check?
he checks.
Oh, I think, oh. I think that's kind of a capping action.
I think we've got so much equity that it's time.
I think we want to go big. Big. Like this is the
150?
biggest nothing burger card. This like screams to me, hey, I have a really crappy ace. And I'm pretty scared already. Like this deuce made me kind of rethink my actions here. I think we
Rethink
want
my
to go
life
big.
choices.
120, or what are you thinking big?
I think we need to go like 25.
What?
We're trying. Look, we want to get the max here, and we want to make this SPR grow. We want to make him miserable, I think, because he's capped.
Definitely one lesson we could take here with the donker is that we're seeing yet another example of someone who's donking on an inappropriate board playing face up, right? He liked his ace on flop. He doesn't like his ace on turn when in position play a call. So I think the argument Sutton is that is two. Number one, he's capped. And number two, with all our equity, if we do hit, which we're gonna do 33% of the time, you can see, we want to be in a position to show. So that's the argument for like a B250 or B200. Does that sound about right?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Does anybody else want to make a conversation for a different sizing?
I was thinking about 13 big blinds.
Yeah,
something
okay.
around there.
So he chooses in between, he chooses a P75. So I like your argument for a bigger sizing, Sutton, and also because I don't use it enough. I don't use overbets enough. And I think if you're gonna mix, so like overbets here to me would be eights would be a really good overbet here. Ace
Maybe.
queen would be a really good overbet here.
Oh,
queens.
I'm saying hand. Okay, sorry. I was misunderstanding what you're saying.
Yeah, so, and then I'm gonna mix in exactly this combo, right? These kind of combos with a shit ton of equity to nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, I'm thinking through what range I'm gonna use with an overbet. I think for me, frankly, B200 is the advanced class, so I'll start with a B150.
Mhm.
And you know, what is that range made up of? Very top of range and our best draws. I don't know. I mean, do you have any low equity draws? In that sizing, like a gut
I mean,
shot with no flush draw, like an, I don't know.
I think you wanna
Jack of
have,
hearts,
I think you'd want some diamond in your hand, right?
yeah, you wanna block him. Want to block to his continue.
Yeah. I think you wanna make it so he can't, has fewer continues.
So
But
if
you
we were
also,
gonna quickly hand class your over bets here, we'd go with very top of range, 2 pair plus, and these very high equity draws.
yes, I think so. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Just kind of rough it out a little bit. Alright, so P75, I think, you know, this is the size frankly I would take, but I like
Mhm.
the idea of adding over bets in here. Clearly overbets are part of any kind of cash strategy and I'm just not using.
I think you have to ask yourself, is the player you're playing against capable of folding an ace though? Before you do it.
Yeah, that's an important question. I mean, so then I think that, you know, we obviously could see his hand here. But I also think his hand that she donks on flop and then checks on turn is gonna be composed of some marginal hands. I can see a lot of queen X here sometimes,
Lower diamonds.
our lower diamonds here. So obviously he's not gonna fold to this size. Now it gets interesting with brick. As you continue.
Hmm.
And he's not
Hmm.
gonna fold. And you have a very good question, or a very good point, John, in that a lot of people just aren't gonna fold in these here. They're thinking absolute hand strength. They're not thinking relative hand strength. And especially that, I think that player class is gonna fall often into people that are gonna dunk their ace on this board.
But I think this is also, a hungry horse spot where if you get here, I think it's good to use a smaller bluff sizing. Like if they had a hand, um, I don't know, like Jack 10, maybe, right?
9-10 is a good example.
Right, like those hands that they might get here with like, you know, like I don't know, we block it, but like Jack 10 of diamonds or something like that, or some other worse diamond perhaps, like, or they have a queen, you know, they might just fold for a small bet here, but the ace is probably never, like this guy called this off for, what was it, 2/3 pot?
Yeah.
With this lousy ace. And like, you're just never going to get this guy to fold. So you want to make sure that you just pile it on the river with this guy. And you're not really thinking about balance because this guy doesn't really care about, he's not thinking about balance.
So you would like a kind of hungry horse sizing for your bluff here. So like a B30.
I think you have to go a little bit bigger than that. I think you have to go a little bit bigger. But somewhere around like half pot. I
Yeah.
think, you know, you don't need to, you don't want to go insultingly small, but you don't need to feel like, oh, I have to have a B100 here.
Yeah.
To get him with my bluffs, because he's probably got a bunch of, like, if he has a bunch of hands that he wants to just get rid of it.
Yeah, and I think that we also have to put this guy in a player class, right? Where he might be thinking about absolute hand strength, he's not thinking about relative hand strength. Okay, Artur wanted to, we see the action, he dunks flop. Check turn. We do a kind of a B70 here.
And I think that, Larry, one of the things, so like I was a big proponent of going really big here. But I think in theory, it's probably not. I don't know. Like I think that there's some conflicting thoughts here because the other thing that you might want to do with that you do with a smaller sizing is you keep worse draws in, perhaps. I think it might help, might be more true when we have the ace of diamonds, but it's another thing to kind of think about because once you use that big sizing, guys are like, ugh, I only have a diamond draw here and there's an ace on board. Like, um,
Yeah, you know, different parts of, different sizings are gonna target different things. You're right. There's an argument for another small bet. Alright, after the next hand, guys, I'm gonna take a break.
call.
Alright, this is an interesting one. So I think there's, we've got this baby stack here.
Hmm.
So we might get an interesting situation where we've got a broken stack, baby stack, queens, and P3. We might get a situation where we get an RFI with the ace queen, flat with the ace 10. And then the queens are in a really weird place against small stacks. So I think P1's gonna flat. He doesn't. What are you guys doing with the queens here against? There's an argument. Okay, what do you guys think? I'm gonna hold my artillery here. What do you guys think?
Depending on the player, if they only come in with like premiums, I might just call.
Okay.
Usually actually from the blinds out of position, I call this spot quite a bit.
So I'm gonna argue for a shove here against these stack sizes. My argument
Oh,
is,
Yeah, sorry,
Around-
I forgot about the mini stack. You're right, yeah, I would just push.
yeah, my argument is around the stack sizes. Around this P9, P7. And we're playing out of position. I think, yeah, Archer's arguing for a click back. I think that's fine. But what's a click back here? So click back to like 15, maybe
Mhm.
16? Put this guy in? Yeah, sure, I can see that. Let's see what he does. I kind of like a shove here. Shove might be really actually not ideal. Because this hand may be too good for a shove.
I
Or
don't know.
maybe too-
I
Go
see
ahead,
that. I just saw in the chat, about P5 playing perfect to the jam. P5 plays perfect to the,
You mean P9?
yeah, no, yeah,
October?
P9 plays, yeah. P9 plays perfect to the jam. I mean, I don't know. They do. I think they have like a pretty sick spot here. I mean, we're only worried about two combos. We're worried about aces and kings. I mean, like,
Yeah, I think it can go either way. I mean, this is obviously unsolvable unless we have.
I mean, imagine this guy has, he can have so many other hands between. Mm,
Yeah, we're up in that range.
I don't know. Maybe we're a
Okay.
little bit wider than that. I mean, it's only we have. I, I mean, if you go click back and he elects to 4-bet, I don't think you're gonna like it with the queens to play out of position.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he is gonna have to call like it's really, I think it's really difficult. I don't think it's as easy. Because if he folds this hand, does he call tens? Like if he's just calling aces and kings, then well, he's got a range that's 20 some odd percent of hands, right? Like,
Yeah, but I could just kind of like discount. I'm kind of discounting the limb trapping here. And you mentioned the 4-bet. I could see that Morphe was like UTG +1, maybe even middle, but he is kind of middle. Yeah, I'm kind of discounting that. I'm kind of worried more about the jamming and losing the customer. So
Yeah, there's an
which
argument for that, Skate. I think you have a very
click,
good argument. I think you have a good
yeah.
point. I mean, we've got, our hand is maybe too good to shove. And I may be too
Mm.
focused on stack size.
but I think the other, but
I don't know.
I think we don't just want to click this back so that, because then it becomes a problem of just having this dry side. And we have a hand that doesn't just want to see the money get in with a dry side and play this out of position?
I don't know, cause how I don't know how much bigger can we go? I mean, um, yeah, we don't want to lose the customer. What I was saying is, yeah, I'm not thinking about the any limb trapping or anything. Um, yeah, I'll just put like my thoughts are just putting P1 all in and just going from there.
I think that's a fine play.
Yeah, with the dry side, it's gonna be face up after the flop anyway, right?
Yeah.
Ace comes, you check, they bet, you fold, so.
Let's see what our
If you want the
B3
money in,
does.
you gotta get it in now, probably.
So he chooses, essentially, this is a little bit more quick back. essentially. And I think ace ten is gonna come one, he's too fucking. See what ace queen does. Well, none of us are here, so I'm not gonna talk about ace queen strategy, because we're never gonna play this with 50 people on stack. Yeah. Fine.
Ooh.
Good fold. And yes, the poor players rewarded. Alright, guys, I'm gonna take like 5 minutes. Meet back here in 5 minutes.
Alright, sounds good, Larry.
Okay.
Alright, gents. Couple minutes, so everyone gets back. Let's run by here. If anybody follows soccer, big game coming up. In an hour, Austria versus France, the Euros. Archer, I don't think, how close did Lithuania come to making the Euros this year? Oh well, see, love you. Alright, you guys wanna start again?
Let's do it.
Alright. Okay, next hand. Alright, our hero is gonna play. Shout out to Mike, thanks for the hand history. GG's gonna open. It again, it's hard to know how this hand gets to. Well, 10-9s, I think we might have a flush or a flush situation. 10-9's gonna incorrectly flat. And we know that he's gonna incorrectly flat. Well, we don't know, but I'm guessing he's gonna, anticipating he's gonna incorrectly flat because he's got a broken stack. Here, want some chips along the way. Oh, so this is a good adjustment Mike's making. So we've got a poster here who has bought in for the min. I would assume 30 big blinds is the min on ignition. So he's going to isolate the poster a little bit, which makes sense, make it a little bit bigger. I can't imagine a worse call. Can't imagine another worse call. Poker's profitable. Now, if I had 10-9 here, I actually might. This is a weird one with 10. Well, he's got a broken stack, so he doesn't have the implied odds, so he should just fold. But at 100 bigs, I wonder if I ever flat here. I've got implied odds. We can see here that you're in trouble if you flush, but I think this might, if I had full stack, I think I might sneak in a cheeky flat here. Skate, what do you think? If you're P2, are you flatting your 10-9 suited here?
I think I would be kind of tempted to flat since it's so multi-way.
Yeah, you've got a very speculative hand, of course, but I mean, this hand's. So if you looked, a lot of times in this situation, like if this was big blind, we would flat this. We would actually prefer to flat a lower suited connector combo. It's kind of an interesting spot. I think I might flat it here, which is naughty, but I think I might do it. All right, 4 ways, ace, king of the flop here. Quite a flop for We know this is going to showdown. As we can see the equities. I think hero pure checks here. I don't think you're ever betting. You're just too multi-way out of position. I think of very few hands that I would actually bet here. All right. Poker's not dead. Let's start opening the calls. This is, I think, an error. I think you can fold here. Man just does not have enough equity going multi-way here, especially out of position. And a lot of your outs to the back door are dead. Mike's a good player. He gets out of the way. This gets more interesting. So now you've got top pair. Still have an open hander, and you got a flush draw. It's fine. This guy's just gonna put it in. He doesn't care. Sandy's stupid. No, he's not gonna put it in. Okay, checks it back. Okay. Weird hand. All right. Again, it's hard to know how this hand gets to be such a big pot. Clearly PA can open, broke the stack. My guess is that queen seven incorrectly flats. Got a limper, ladies and gents. So the queen seven's in a weird spot here. If I had queen seven against this broken stack, I would actually ISO this for two reasons. One, we've got a scuffed range, right? We've got a very crap range with this limp. And two, I'm guaranteed position. So I would ISO this. I think I would reach, this is a wide ISO. Obviously, the rule that we've used before is you move, if you're in position, you move two positions forward and you use that range and use your RFI range to ISO. But I think I would expand my ISO range here. Do you guys think that this is too great an expansion to ISO with this queen seven suited?
No.
Okay, so
No.
yeah, I think that this, I mean, well, there is no theory for ISO, I guess, for the ranges that I've seen. They're out there. We need someone to join a coaching for profit program and then share all their pre-flop ranges with us. Skate, are you up for it?
Can you sorry, I didn't quite understand.
So do you know what a coaching for profit is? A coaching for profit group?
No.
Okay, the joke's dumb, but coaching for profit is essentially when you join a coaching stable and you get staked, and in return you get a lot of coaching. MSI says we can use HRC. We can certainly use HRC to solve this at some frequency. Okay, so I think this is a good ISO. I think I'm going to play this. And I think I'm going to play this aggressively post.
Mhm.
So here I've been using default half pot. Let's see if he donks. He's fine. So I use default half pot here. One guy that I've been going over hands with says this is a mistake, that we need to be more attuned to texture, which makes sense. I kind of default to half pot here because that's what Jeremiah Williams does. Jeremiah Williams is a cash streamer, cashes nosebleeds, so he very rarely actually is in the pot. But when he is and he ISOs, he chooses his default size to B50. What are you guys doing here after you ISO? And you have a marginal hand,
Small.
but this ace is really good for you.
Yeah, I go small.
What, so would you use like a B30?
Yeah.
So I I aggressively play these ISO pots against what I think is a limp range, a capped range that's limping. I'm
Problem
gonna
is, do we
call
get
it.
called? Like, this is Jeremiah Williams and Mark Goon have the same strategy here, essentially. Like, this guy said he has weak shit. Let's bet. See bet, like, basically range.
Yeah,
But this is like, that kind of violates the poker coaching. This is clear marginal value, right? With the
Yeah.
7.
yeah, marginal made hand.
Um, like, do we ever bet and get a worse hand to call or fold? Or I'm sorry, say that differently. Do we ever bet and get a better hand to fold?
It's a valid point. So this is really a situation where kind of the default to B50 goes out the door because you got a marginal. You're gonna do that.
Yeah, I just don't know because it's like when he calls, he has so many ace X hands, and we just saw like how perilous that can be.
We betting
Terrible.
to clear, sorry, we are betting to clear out like king, jack, queen, 10, not that 9, but like, just overcards, like, even like king 5, it has like 20% equity.
So you like the bet here kind of as a protection bet, right? We're denying equity to the overcards.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here
See
you,
that.
like, in position, you can bet like everything, I don't know, but, actually, I'm not sure, but,
Yeah,
I
it's
will go
kind of an
small.
interesting spot here, right? Because we have a marginal made hand in position, but we ISO to limper. He is certainly gonna have some weird ace X in his range, which is ISO calling, which is limp calling, so. So he chose the R4 method.
Mhm.
Which is probably fine. I don't know. This is, I don't know why we call this, but I think some people just default to call. I think some people, especially fish, just are gonna call small bet pure. Because that's just the way they play. Alright, so I think once you get called, if you're queen 7, I think you do a lot of checking.
I know. We get the
Yeah, this is why we're doing these sessions, right? Like, WTF does someone do this with? This is an example. And this is, I would argue this is merging.
like weak ace X that doesn't want to check through or something. I don't know.
This is weak. I mean, in this particular combo, it's merging, right? Because is this a bluff or is it setting the price? This is like a very mergy play with this combo. Oh, it might work actually. Well, let's say you're the ISO here and you did use a B30 on flop. Use B30 on flop. You get called. He got his back door. He B50 donks turn. What are you guys doing with your 0.7?
Easy fold.
Yeah,
Like, even versus bluffs, you have like whatever, 60%.
it's hard to understand what he does this, right? This again is why we do these sessions. So we can see what these combos look like.
Hmm. I don't.
I think one play here, which is valid, which kind of goes to the Nuffle strategy, is an imposition raise here. And then obviously you're going to fold to a re-raise. But an imposition raise here with all the intents and purposes of checking back river. Sometimes he's going to dunk again on river, especially, if he misses, especially if he hits. But, well, what do you guys, let me ask you, what do you think of if P2 chose to, so the size I would use, kind of following roughly Nuffle strategy, would be to go his bet plus pot, so like 25. What do you think about going to 25 big blinds for P2 here?
I don't think I like it.
Okay.
I mean, Yeah, I think I just scrap it. Like, I don't really understand it, but
I know, it's crazy.
like, we just don't have, we have bottom pair in a spot that I probably feel like I shouldn't have bet flop on. And now I'm getting led into on this card that seems like a blank, but this guy has like pocket threes, an ace three. I don't know.
I might be influenced by the comment.
I do agree with that. Jack nine is better than queen seven here. Yeah, queen seven does not have an ability to improve really. Yeah, I'm with that comment in the chat.
Yeah, agreed. Queen seven's kind of shitty. Alright. See what he does. Alright, he calls his marginal hand. Now what does this queen ten do? Does it follow through? When you know that, well, if he's thinking about it, he's probably not, because he's not calling. P2 is chock full of aces here. He gets up.
Check, check.
Yep.
I'm not giving up on kind of a Nuffle imposition raise being of value. I might be wrong. I totally could be wrong. But, and I might be also influenced by seeing the cards. But, yeah, three doesn't seem to bring in
It
anything
make
but with this flush draw.
it may if it were some card that connected more with the 7-8, like if it was the 4, you could see it. Okay, completes 5-6. You know, basically like the cards 4 through what 10, Jack, they make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
This card doesn't really seem to make very many good hands for P8.
No, it doesn't change range. It just is not an equity shifting card. I mean, you do, in theory, there would be some donks here, but it'd have to be an equity shifting card, like 10 of hearts, 9 of hearts would be interesting cards to have a donk on. Yeah. I don't know if the Nuffle strategy is good here. But I'm gonna put that in my back pocket because I think it has enough value to continue to explore that theory or continue to explore that strategy. Okay, next hand. Does ace nine get to open this early? Cut off my check.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hope it's not dead. I would think ace six, frankly, is a better squeeze than it is a flat. I don't think you really wanna flat this, but I think that's what we're gonna see.
Mhm.
I don't, yeah, there's no value in playing out of position. Like an ace five and ace four, I would squeeze here. 15 or 16. What do you guys think? Are
Yeah,
you ever putting, let me put this a different way. Is anybody here ever putting this ace six suited into the squeezing range?
Hmm.
Mm, no. No. A6, A7, definitely not. No.
So, yeah, so just for shits and giggles, as they say. This isn't quite the same. This is six max. Here's our, we do have some flats here. But it's 2% of range. We do, yeah, I think I increased the frequency of squeezing down here. But yeah, this is just a full. See what it does. This is EV. So this is an argument for using the bigger RFI size that Seth was talking about before. right? You just,
Yep.
like, part of me says, oh, well, I want to use a smaller RFI size EP, like GTO does. Like if we looked at GTO RFI ranges, they get smaller the earlier in your position when you RFI. This shows that that really may not be the best strategy against humans, because now you got ace nine four ways, and that sucks. It's very hard to realize your equity here. We know this is going to end up going to showdown because we've got equity showing here. But I think this is an argument for using a bigger RFI size. Well, look at that. We're gonna open ender. That stuff going all over the place. Top pair. Gutters, backdoors. I don't think we need to talk about it. I think this is a pure check. Even with top pair. Anybody betting here?
No.
So this
Yes.
is a super common error. I've got top pair on multi-way. I want to protect my equity. Somebody help me understand what's happening. Like why, what is there value in betting here ever? Anybody have an opinion? Artur, what do you think? Yeah, it's too big. If you're gonna play, you might have some check raises here. That's a lot better than this play. But I don't think you have very many check raises four ways. When 7-6 gets there.
The board's
know.
just too. Go ahead, Skate.
No, I was just thinking here, like, that the five is maybe a little bit less scarier than a six or a seven. I don't know. It is kind of multi-way, but we have top pair, top kicker. I don't know. Just the five is not as connected as a six, and also I don't see a lot of two pair combos available, other than maybe 8-9. So
Yeah.
that's my only. Yep.
I think this is a tough one, but I think this is a pure check. I think that really in principle, and I'm open to someone telling me I'm full of shit. But I think in principle, four ways out of position, even though you do have, I guess the word is urge, you have an urge to protect your equity here because you got top pair, top kicker, and a lot of bad cards can come. I think you just kind of have to check now that you're four ways.
And it's 9 high board. Like,
And it's a 9-high-4, right? So in theory, you've got high frequency check, low frequency big bet, but that's all out the door when multi-way, especially forward.
yeah, I think we've seen this before in some of the solver work, like early position open, 10 high board. It's just like range check.
Yeah.
All the time. You just don't have the connectivity with this board that all of these guys have. And Skate's point is fair about the two pair, but that ignores all the sets. It also ignores like a ton of combo draws, like 5-6 of hearts, 7-8 of spades, like that are just not gonna want to get out of there.
So no one has to pair, right? Maybe big blind has some combos of the pair. I don't know if these guys can have a set, but like we basically have equal range with everyone, and like our ace nine wants the most protection. It's like the literally most vulnerable hand in the deck. Ace nine.
Yeah, I mean, you're making an argument. I think what we've seen from looking at multi-way solves and from just looking from playing out of position in general, this is it's a really sucky, shitty situation. And I think you have to understand that sometimes when you check, sometimes you're gonna be outdrawn, which you're talking about, because we could use protection. But you're up against four ranges. Your equity is extremely reduced. Especially on a board with locked up equity. Where there's where there are potential sets and where
Okay,
there's
so does
a straight.
does two big blind bet when makes sense? Or like you still want to check?
Maybe, I think I mostly check here.
So
So
if
the
limp is-
argument, I'll go back to an old school argument. So Jonathan Jaffe, arguably the best coach that offers webinars on poker coaching. Shout out to Jonathan Jaffe. He did a beautiful 4-bet bluff shove against kings on the final table with 50,000 yesterday. With ace four suited. But
Whoa.
50K, it's a 50,000 FT. And he ran into kings, unfortunately, with his ace four suited 4-bet bluff. So his argument, which I think is something I go back to over and over when I'm in the spot. Hey, Derek,
Hey there.
is the value of checking in the situation is not just about theory, right? This is also about understanding what's happening behind. You gain a lot of information by checking because you're going to see what your opponents do out of position. Like, you know,
Yeah,
is it going to check through? Are we going to get a bet in a position raise? You're
I
going to
heard
understand a
this.
lot more about where you stand equity wise if you check and you observe their betting patterns.
I heard this, I don't know if he still does this, but then he was like teaching this multi-way stuff on poker coaching, like I thought like he almost never bet like with like second to like in this position like ace nine with one to go after him, like he almost never bet. But I think now he fixed it because like now it's easier to solve. Anyway, so with two to go, actually, if you're allowed to bet like decent amount, like tens, jacks, queens, you are allowed to bet like whatever 50-70% frequency.
Maybe. I don't know if Jonathan Jaffe changed his theory here. Maybe he did. I'm
But
not
like it
sure that
wasn't
he
good. I don't know. I just watched it and like because I deep studied it for he did some 40 big blind like presentations for MTTs and it was like 2022 theory and it was like not good. I don't know. He
Okay.
surely fixed it later, but
All
it
right.
was
Okay, maybe.
I don't know if but like he basically with free to go he never bets and in some sense you bet actually with free to go.
Okay.
Like we have two players after you still bet.
All right.
Anyway,
Okay. So, this size clearly is too big, regardless. Open ender calls. It's a horrible call. So now what are you gonna do? So, this is what happens. You get two callers out of position. Oh, you just check here. Now he checks. I check through probably.
I must admit that if I turn equity, I usually bet.
Yeah.
So I like my brain is so automatic, non-thinking, turn equity bet.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And the king is a huge scare card here. So, like, if they called here, they're less likely to have a king than have an ace. So, my brain just goes turned equity bet. I don't know if that's correct thinking but that's just what I do.
Well, I think when you get two callers in a multi-way pot where there is locked up equity, it gets sketchy. Because you got two callers. So check, probably gonna check through, and the 10. All right, next
Yeah.
hand.
Heads
So
up, I might shove the turn though. I sort of
no one else
I'm
thinks like
known
that.
to do that. And I definitely think that way. Yeah. With that king, I know I did it this weekend. I would definitely shove that turn. A heads up. Against two caller. Probably not.
But why do we want to shove the king?
Because we turned flush equity.
But we
bet
have,
our-
we could,
we bet our draws.
but we have, we don't, but we have, we flop top pair here. Like we don't need to go from flopping top pair to bluffing second pair in a spot
Yeah.
where we could easily check call a bet, or we could just have the best hand. Like,
I
to
kind of
me,
agree
this
with
is,
that.
to me, if we like, I agree there should not be a lot of king X probably out in villain's range, which is fine, which means that we probably have the best of it a lot of the time. So even if this were heads up, I would want to check, because I can easily check call on river, because guys see me as capped by checking the king, but this is going to be one of my best checkbacks on turn that can call off or can improve on river. I just don't see any need for us to be jamming for a very big size on this king.
Oh, I don't
Yeah, we're not
jam all
getting
in.
better to call.
I don't jam all in when I turn equity here. I'm making a bet here, though.
So,
What
I mean,
size would you use, Derek?
I bet like half pot. No, I
Okay.
bet pot probably. Maybe about 34, 35, something like that.
Okay. If I was gonna choose an aggressive action here, I think I'd prefer check raise.
You think anyone's gonna raise?
I would prefer to check raise myself to a bet. If I was gonna choose an aggressive action.
But you think someone's gonna raise? You're gonna bet?
Do I think someone's gonna bet?
Like, you won't be able to check raise it unless someone bets.
True.
So I'm
And
betting pot
you
here.
got a good point, because there's only one person behind, you're in the middle of the sandwich. Maybe that's not the best choice. Alright. So it's been slowly. Next one.
Like, this may be something that I'm thinking wrong. In that I should check in that situation. Is that what you guys are saying?
So I guess you heard Sutton talking about it.
Yeah.
On turn here. So there, certainly, I would prefer, if I was going to continue aggression here, I'd want to be in position.
Sure.
It's gonna make it a lot easier for me to check back when I miss, if I got two callers.
Right.
Checking sucks because you are allowing people to realize equity, which actually happens here. G5 does actually hit, it's 15% out.
Yeah. He hits
Um,
one of his 3 outs. I don't care about losing that.
Well, he's not gonna fold anyway, right? Because he's got an open ender. So, Sutton made the argument that, well, when you get two callers, I think the argument multi-way is that oftentimes you have to respect these ranges. You're against two ranges with the marginal hand. And so, but you're right. We did turn a shit ton of equity. We turned equity to the nuts, which we're gonna hit 18% of the time, but
Button, what do you do with a six of spades? So ace of spades, six of spades.
multi-draw.
Well,
Yeah.
if I hit, so
No nine, you got the eight, you got the six of spades, eight of spades.
well, I definitely would have checked flop with, so it's hard. It's hard to say because I'm never going to be in that spot on turn with a six of spades here. But let's say for the sake that somehow I did, and I'm out of position, like that's very difficult for me to say because I'm just going to check out of position so frequently on the flop. If it had been a situation where this flop checked through, and then I pick up the spade draw with the gutter, the problem is I probably should bet in that situation where other players are now much more capped. And here, maybe we didn't get raised, they're capped too, but it's just when we are out of position, it is very difficult to play. And I think this just kind of exemplifies it. I think like the long and the short of this whole conversation is when we are out of position, we should default to doing a lot of checking. And I think that we would see very, very, very little EV lost, even if we took an over-checked line. especially on this sort of
I
board.
don't see why that is. Like my brain just thinks, oh, I got like 18 outs here. I'm gonna bet.
Okay, so can we just like back up a little bit, Larry, if we're gonna have this like conversation? So let's just look at this flop. If we open here, in theory, let's imagine this isn't multi-way. Let's just imagine like cutoff or button called us and it was a heads up pot. We were early position open and we had a late position flat. What do you think the check frequency is on this board? In theory.
That's a good question.
almost
Are we in
100%
position or out
probably.
of position?
For
I'm
the
sorry.
out of position player, almost 100% check, I would think.
Yeah, I'm checking 100% if I'm out of position.
And we're out of position in this spot. And it's multi-way. So, and it is like, I mean, I was like pretty confident of that when this whole thing started. And I just put it in the whiz and it's 100%. I mean, just like if you have
I agree.
10 high
100%.
flops in the spot, just check. Like you're not losing anything to do it.
Yeah, I
And-
agree with that.
And this is like if you compare the button flat range to what we're seeing from our villains on this board, like the button flat range in theory is like one combo, you know, of ace nine or 8-9 suited. It's like one combo of the 6-7 suited, right? And you just see like what's calling here. I mean, all the villains that we are playing against are, you got guys with
4,
6, 7
6,
off in
7,
here.
10.
You got it all. I mean, so like this board, especially if we're playing an appropriate early position range versus all that nonsense that everybody else is playing, just saves lots of trouble. Check. I mean, the guy Mark Goon says, you know, basically he just advocates range check out of position. Range check out of position. I'm not sure I necessarily buy his argument that guys behind over stab, but
So could it be a cash mechanic? Because in MTTs we for sure like don't check like with SPR like whatever 6, because here SPR is like 10. We never check like we even lead like with 4 to go. We start betting multi-way. Makes sense, no?
to bet more when it's multi-way out of position.
Not more, but yeah, like with a smaller SPR, we like even with 3 to go, we like start betting. I showed you like how aggressively we lead actually on 40 bigs.
On 40 bigs.
Yeah, but it's like
That's
But
not
like-
our situation here.
yeah, but I'm listening now and I'm thinking maybe it's because here like we are stupid deep. That's why we never bet with many
Yeah, I
people.
mean when the SPR is 3, you're more apt to be excited about your top pair. When the
Yeah.
SPR is
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Yeah.
you know, it's kind of hard to decide what
So-
the SPR is in this hand exactly, but we have a 100 big stack behind us. So I think it's probably pretty safe to use that one.
All right, guys, keep talking. So I just hit a bug in Hold'em Manager, so I'm gonna close this, reopen it. Keep on talking about this hand, and I'm gonna
Okay.
just try to get
No
back to
problem.
it. So
Mhm.
I'm not forget
No
this ugly
Wait.
HUD.
Yeah, I think when the SPR is upwards of 8, we don't really want to be getting ourselves in a position where top pair with little room to improve is going bonkers.
So what was that? So this was, everybody keep an eye out for an 8-9-5 rainbow flop. We're not gonna see. So keep an eye out for
It's past this hand.
P2 ace-9.
Mhm.
So that hand, here we go.
This is the
There
hand.
we go. Yep.
Alright, so, yeah, I mean. So the one argument is, well, we bet here for protection, but we have to think a lot more about reverse implied odds here. So our top ticker is a lot less valuable. You guys wanna move on? Keep on talking about this one. I was unfortunately distracted by my HUD bugging out.
No, I think we're good here, Larry.
Thank you, guys.
Alright, we can see where this goes. So I would imagine we get in a flat, right? Let's see.
Oh, that's big.
I don't think I wanna for that.
Oh.
Well, maybe I do, if I'm gonna get called by jacks.
Holy crap. Jack six suited? Holy crap.
So. I'm gonna argue your ace jack isn't worth much here, and you could just fold it.
Yep. Toss it in the muck.
Anybody vehemently disagree with me?
No, I threw that in the muck. It's on fire.
I think if there's anybody in this group that's gonna find a squeeze here, it's Sutton. Is this too far down, Sutton?
It's close. I mean, yeah, I think the safer bet is to not.
Player dependent, maybe?
Player dependence for sure. I mean,
Is this
Depends
the 60 VPip guy? Opening here with the kings?
I don't know. I'm not gonna open the HUD.
but
Okay.
I'll tell you, the other thing to consider here is just the four big sizing. You know, I think that kind of sways you away from it. I would be, I am in three better fold territory here with in P2.
So I think
Um,
ace queen off,
Yeah. It's
it
about the
gets
bottom.
really interesting.
Yeah,
It's
ace-queen is
very
more
player dependent, I
interesting.
think. And it's hard. These are from ignition. I don't play on ignition. These are somebody else's in districts, but I mean, you essentially have no history. You don't know if he always uses this sizing. He has linear sizing, which is probably the case
Yeah.
here.
I
Ace
think
queen gets
you save yourself
close.
the headache is just fold it.
Agreed.
So
Or-
this is the worst choice.
That's the worst option.
This is important to see, right? Especially for tourney players. I think, in tourneys, this becomes different because
It's so
you've
valuable.
got antes and you've got no rig. But this is in cash. This is a poor play in cash.
Well, there
Now
we go.
this is an interesting spot. So let's talk multi-way upset. What do you guys think?
Checking range.
And to answer your question, Skate, ace jack is a call, I think. Ace jack suited is a call. But 3% of the time you're gonna hit a flop, hit a flush. You're drawing to the nuts, so it does become. I kind
Three-
of like. Go ahead, sorry, I interrupted someone.
Three-handed, I'm thinking I would bet 75 probably.
Yeah,
Try to get heads up.
I'm kind of feeling check raise. Anybody else thinking check raise here has value?
I mean, my default is out of position. I check.
Check range out of position.
Yeah,
The opener.
I would like a check raise. I think, the rule with the check raise, well. Check raise gets the most money in, right? We want to get to a spot where we can. Even though we're blocking, blockers, we're blocking, calls here. And this is a rainbow board, which means there's less to continue from villain. Less front and back door draws, but. Kind of like a check raise. Well, it's a check.
Oh,
So,
here we go.
this is always a tough spot for me personally. Well, okay, now this is interesting.
Stay the course, man. Stay the course.
I like a check call. Top pair, so more incentive to not wanna do aggressive actions.
I
Say that
mean,
again,
we
Skate.
can see the equities here, which I think is an indicator of how often we still play. Sorry, I interrupted someone.
No, I just didn't catch Skate's last comment there.
No, just since we're unblocking top pair, like less of an incentive to do something aggressive.
Yep.
But yes, we are blocking top pair, but there are so many combo draws here.
Any queen,
And-
any tan.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
are just
true.
that are
There's
gonna
more to
dry
it.
up. And there's Like, I know people are staring and saying, oh, well, like, what about queen 10? But, you know, there's jack 9 with these guys. There's probably some 9s out there. Like, and there's still one more king out there. So with this action, man, I want to get money in, and like jack 10 is not folding. Like queen jack is not folding, I don't think. With a pair, a gutter, and a backdoor flush draw, like maybe the club combo folds. I think we want to get money in.
Yeah. Well, if you just call, the SPR is going to be all 3-ish. So
Well,
I have no problem.
I think we
betting.
want to play a 2-street game though, is what we want to do here, is try to make this a
Okay.
2-street game.
Okay. Well, we can
And
still get
then
all the money in with on 2 streets if we just call here.
yeah, I see that now. Like it is
gonna be-
multi-way, and the 9 is there. If the 9 wasn't there, then maybe we could do like more of a calling kind of more calling, I guess.
Arthur, if you want to stick this in Prometheus and stick a screenshot in chat or share your screen, I'd be curious to see what Kings does on flop here. Prometheus. Here we go. He's gonna, why don't I try sharing this? Advanced level. Yeah, so well, first I have to share it so you guys can see it. Well, I guess you can see it. All right, can you see the screenshot?
Okay.
So we're mixing. Well, we're mixing on flop. Our bet, so we're betting and checking. We're mixed here, split. Top of range, obviously we're mixing 2, and you got another one for us. Okay, got it. Thank you. That screwed me up. Open this, share this. Next screen. So is this different? This is the same thing. I've lost my chat window, so I can see what you're doing. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna chat. Okay, no worries, Arthur. Okay, I'm gonna go, wait, we got something else? Someone else coming through?
Oh, do you want me to share or what?
I'm almost there. Hold on one second. Okay, this is when. So this is when we bet. Now what do we do with the kings? All right. So we're doing everything is what I see, right? The kings want to raise,
Mostly
to-
raising, just different sizes of raising.
we want to raise, and then we got a sliver of call. Okay. So we definitely do have a check raise game here, mostly a check raise game. What if we do check? All right. Let's get back to hand. This becomes a lot of admin. We should begin to share this stuff. All right, cool. So, okay. Yeah, I like a check raise here. And kind of the same reason Sutton talked about. You know, it's like, this is just top of range. I'm sure we're going to be 10, but. So he slows play, or P5 slow play it. See what
Queen
happens
comes.
here.
Okay, no.
Now it's kind of interesting, right? When you don't take the betting lead here
Yeah.
and we get a turn we love, what do we do now? Do we now donk essentially into the guy who bet when he's going to check so much? This is another argument for check raise is that, you know, let's take over the betting lead so we can bet on turn. So now we just hope this guy bets again, which he's likely not going to do here. Oh, he does. Never mind. Read
Oh,
everything
never
I
mind.
said. And now, what do you guys think? I think this is, well, what do you guys
So the jack's folded, right?
think?
Jack, ace jack folded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we need to get 60 more bucks in.
Yeah.
And
This is
if we just call this, it's going to be a pot-sized bet. So we can either try to get it in now or try to get it in later. So I say get it in now before a cooler comes.
Yeah, I think you just have to make the strongest play in poker at this point and check raise turn.
Yeah.
So he clicked it. He's probably thinking about sizing.
Uh,
It's call, which is horrible. This guy should fold, and now he's just gonna shove, and this guy's gonna. He's gonna get paid. So he's in an awkward situation now that he screwed himself with. He should have checked turn
wow.
P9 because now he's like, oh well, I'm getting 25% pot heads. I only have to be good here 1 out of 4 times.
He just lays his neck on the chopping block for you.
He just yes, exactly.
He just says, please kill me.
Pays this man his money.
Pay the man. I want to pay the man his my money.
Yeah.
That's
So I think
great.
what's
Is it
gonna happen
always
here.
like this?
Say it again.
Is it always like this on this site? Is
So I
this,
don't
like,
play at Ignition.
typical?
These are Mike's hand histories, but yeah, it can definitely be soft. I mean, that's a super soft play. He was not reading the room.
Wow, the room is great.
Yes, true.
Time to put the hammer down and put a lot of volume in, I guess, eh? Is that what
Yeah.
everyone's thinking?
So King eight's in a weird spot here. I think I'd rather ISO than do anything else. That's ISO fold, frankly. I think folding's fine. Wow, this is a very special player. G5.
Did he post that?
So we must have had a poster. Yeah, we had a poster in P8.
Did he post like P5 post?
No, I think he called
No, post.
P8 posts, right? Oh, yeah, we have 2 poster. You're right. Sorry. Thanks, son. All right, so we have 2 posts. Oh, no.
No,
am I right?
the button
screwed
is in a
up.
weird spot. The button is Jack 9 here.
Oh, you're right. That's a big blind. Sorry.
It's just like kind of hard to read.
Sorry. All right. Well, then I'll just criticize P1's play then, which is horrible. So if you're gonna ISO here, this is too small. I think what size would you guys use here?
Eight or 9.
Yeah, you really wanna, if you're gonna play this and well, you're always gonna play this, but I think you gotta ISO it bigger.
Shot, maybe.
We
Oh,
are
when
kind of
you don't
playing
like-
like these weird horny size stacks.
Well, gotta make it at least 6.5, at least.
So sevens,
seven
now
nine.
this becomes interesting for 7, and I think this is maybe, for lack of a better term, a teachable moment. Maybe you call here with 7s, but it's weird because you don't have the implied odds. Cause these aren't
Guy
full
only has
stacks.
42, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
have to call 3.
sure, you're 13%, and sure, you've got 3 different ranges. I don't know. I frankly do not know if this is a good call. I think probably it is. I'm not sure.
I guess the question you ask yourself is, will I get paid off if I hit my damn set, right?
Yeah, it's easier to get paid off, but the issue is that you just are not gonna get paid as much.
Exactly. If someone only has 21, you you're
For
not
the 13 of the
exactly
percent for the time you hit chin.
Exactly.
Alright. Now I'm just totally lost in this hand.
Mr.
Fine.
Ace 8-2 is a genius here, right?
Alright, now it's going cray cray. Because this is big blind, right?
Yeah.
Big blind chooses to dunk his top pair. This broken stack. This hand is breaking my brain. What's left of it to be broken? So, king 10
8-2
should
is
fold.
saying I should have called.
8-2 now. Whatever. Let's just move through this hand. It's like ridiculous. He's gonna call. No reason to raise.
So, like,
Just
looking at
improves.
this play, I'm thinking, is it like this at $1, $2?
This is NL 50.
Yeah. So
So-
is NL 100 that soft too?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm playing this site too. But
'Cause
this is,
this is screwing my brain.
yeah, kind of broken. My brain's broken now. So I don't think you ever raise. There's no reason to raise this SPR. So
I
this is
mean-
not necessary. You could think he's pot committed and you want to get it in before
Yeah.
with the flush draw available. What do you think?
I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only $10 behind. I mean, the SPR was 3 on the flop and you have a pretty good ace and there's lots of worse aces. So, I mean, I think you're kind of gonna go with this hand at this SPR.
When your SPR is 1, it doesn't really matter.
All right, next hand.
Yeah.
We do have a poster here,
Under the gun
UGG
poster.
with fives. I think 10-7's gonna flop behind. He's gonna overlap. All right, what are you guys doing with ace queen here? You got a poster, you got an overlimper.
8.
8, yeah,
Yep.
It's
8.
7
I'm
or
happy
8.
with 8. Like,
Yeah.
like, if I'm watching the play, what I've seen so far, I'm just gonna assume that everyone's a freaking idiot. So I'm going 8.
so, I think Sutton is making an argument for larger ISOing size, which we talked about earlier in the session here, which I think makes sense. So just, I'm gonna kind of repeat what I think your argument was, so I make sure I understand it. And so I think your argument for bigger ISO size is that people are inelastic, right? Got a very
Yep.
good hand here.
They call too much.
Yeah, and also on the
And
other
I'm
side
not
of
worried
that,
about being blown off my hand. Like, I don't think these people are at the point where they're 3-betting enough, so I can bet and I don't have to worry about being blown off my equity.
okay,
So that's like just after just watching 2 hands, that's what I'm starting to think.
okay,
I'm
well,
here to make as much money as fast as possible, so get the money in.
so, yeah, I think that makes sense. So, my question really is around, so a default kind of sizing here would be like, I think 5.5. So 4.5 plus the 2 limpers gets us to maybe 6.5. Yeah, 6.5.
Yeah, I agree 6.5, but I want to go 8 because I want to make as much money as possible.
Okay, see that?
And,
So-
and people call too much, so
So we get, okay, so this is bad. So I think the argument for going bigger is that you just take this heads up. You're never really gonna benefit. Well, the stack tip's gonna be a little different, but you're never really gonna benefit from taking a hand multi-way. You really wanna get heads up.
yep. 10-7 hits Jin.
Yeah,
We're
so when you
reinforcing
get
that
2
behavior.
callers and you have this flop, I check a lot here.
Yep.
This is
It's-
I was
horrible.
gonna raise a counterpoint to that. So I've been doing that.
Oh, 10-7 folds? Holy
I
crap.
did that a lot lately where I've been doing 8 or so pre-flop, and I've noticed that it's like putting me at a disadvantage because I think we as a group here play much better post-flop. So I've been just doing like 3 to 4, let them in, and then because you flop like this and you're toast, right? So you're basically giving them money where they still have a pretty good advantage to beat you. But post flop, like they're not going to fold half their hands. So I've been going back down now to like 3 or 4,
Oh, that's
and it
interesting.
seems to be paying off a little bit better. So just
Yeah, I can
some food for
understand
thought,
that.
You're making the most of your post flop skills because you have a bigger post flop advantage over them.
right? Because I noticed when I was going like 8, I'm losing more than I should because I have to give up so much.
Because they're
Like, but are
that
you giving up
you-
on this hand, on this board? Like, I mean, I think I would be very hesitant because, yeah, sure, on this particular board, we flop poorly,
agreed.
but we shouldn't, we're out of position here. And so we can play this very easily now. Like, we just play with a check here. And and we're fine. And we very often probably have the best hand, because if this guy has 10-7 suited, he has 6-9 of hearts too, probably.
That's
You know,
right.
he
his
has
range is
Jack-8 of
huge.
spades here. So
Yeah.
like, I mean,
So if I follow
I
up with a continuation bet here, right? They're gonna
that's
call with whatever they hit or any pocket pair. Typically
Yeah.
against like a crappy player. And so I'm just losing instead of losing, what is
don't-
it, 8 big blinds, I'm losing like another 30% on the flop.
I guess my simple suggestion would be don't see bet here. Like, you're out of position on this board that you probably have the best hand on the vast majority of the time. You can just check. And
No, you're right. I would check out of position.
then
I'm
in
just-
position,
yeah.
like you can pick these pots up just a ton. Like all you have to bet is 5 bigs here. Probably even less. I mean, honestly, you bet 4 or 5 bigs here. You're gonna pick this pot up at an incredible clip. And if it has a big blind or 2 additional compared to your smaller bet sizing, you just make that every single time. I think it's something to, I would, we always have to be flexible, but I think you should, I think you should not give up on the bigger rate open sizes and the
Okay.
bigger ISOs is my opinion on that.
Okay. I'll keep giving it a shot here.
Well, let's go back to first principles of why we're ISOing. So to me, first principle is, in this particular case, we prefer to take it down pre because that's rake-free money. And we also prefer to take a hand heads up. We don't really ever want to play it pot multi-way. And so a bigger ISO size is going to achieve those goals at a higher frequency. I think, John, you have a good point that people are inelastic to sizing, and if they want to see a flop, they're going to see a flop. And so maybe that, goes
Yeah, I
counter to
mean,
that
mostly
argument.
I play live almost 100%. So,
Oh, me too. Me too.
so in that, especially in California, these guys are all gonna see the flop for $40, 35 in a 2-5 game.
Okay.
So it's seems to be lately that my win rate's gone up when I just keep it low. Cause it's,
Yeah, and I'm open to the
Yeah.
argument. I would
Yeah.
say so when you're going down to a larger ISOing size to limpers, what is your goal with the smaller size? And so I hear your goal is I'm investing less in this pot. And so when I miss, I'm losing less.
I'm raising my investment on average, but I'm not losing so much of my buy-in when I miss.
Okay.
So I'm trying to make it play over the long run. Rule of large numbers, just put in that pot, but my advantage is not so great. Like I have ace queen off against pocket fives. I'm pushing my equity later in the hand as opposed to upfront.
So, yeah,
So-
so your argument is also, I think I have skill edge post flop. And so I'm not as motivated to take this down pre. And also maybe live where you play, they very well might take rake for your post. You're not mad.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's see how this
Can you
hand
talk
goes.
a bit more about what the structure of the live games in California are? Because I've heard that it's really good as far as donkeys. Like it's very profitable to play in the
They have a lot of
California
spread
games.
limit games, like 200, 300. And then they have all the no limit that everybody else has. But it's generally really soft. Post flop is super inelastic. I mean, sorry, pre flop is super inelastic. So it's you got to be able to play against, a lot of multiplayer flops. You're not going to get heads up live very often. Unless you're playing, let's say, Bay 101, there's like a 2-3-5-20 game, then you'll be heads up almost every hand. But until you get to the 10-20 games, you really don't see a lot of, You'll be multiplayer to the flop quite often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is the
So-
rake structure that they're taking? They're taking rake under pre-flop hand that you take down?
Yeah, $6.
Okay, so there's real no,
And then-
so that reduces the advantage of winning. the game.
Yeah, but if you play like a 10-20 game, it's usually time $11 every half hour.
Okay, then it's a
Or,
time game and it changes. Alright,
yeah.
cool. Alright, let's see what happens to his hand. So he goes for pot, whatevs. Fives should fold, they don't.
Tens
Oh.
folds. Wow. Gets
I
the
don't think-
tens out.
I don't think that's a bad fold.
No, it's not a bad fold. But I'm just
But-
saying.
It made me less so because he's got a broken stack. Alright, he's never folding.
I'm surprised that tens didn't just shove it in. But
This is the
What do I
Wild
know?
West. What's his fault? Alright. I got about 15 more minutes left of me, guys, and then I am out of energy. 3 hours. So. What's my coffee sweating? So I just have no worldly clue how this goes to 50 big blinds. Let's see. That's how.
7, 10, 7 bets. Holy crap.
Queen eight, this is
In early
insane.
position. Green 8.
So anybody putting this in their squeeze range? This is a
No, but
interesting.
to squeeze, you need fold equity, right? And if I was sitting at this table for 3 or 4 hands, I'd say, what's fold equity? Right? Like a big thing about squeeze is that you have to target guys that can fold. This doesn't seem to be the case in this table
Okay,
or on this site.
see that.
Does,
I mean,
like,
then, I mean,
I'm raising the nines 100% all the time, but I don't think of it as a squeeze. I think of it as just betting the nines for value. Does that make sense?
Um,
yeah,
Well,
I think
unless-
this is pretty, I think this is pretty high. I think we have an incentive to it's a difficult hand to play post flop.
Yep.
We have
We're
good
betting
reason.
15.
so would you
Something
put
like
this
that.
in your squeezing range?
I think
No,
so.
I put it in my bet for value. I'm betting 15 here for value.
Well, I think we're just
mean-
having a term issue here. I think, squeezing is just the term we
squeezing
would use
implies
here
that the
for
guy's
three
gonna
betting.
fold. But I
No,
see what
no,
you're
squeeze
saying, yeah.
squeeze is just a term for, we have a raise first in and we have a call. So this guy is going to be squeezed by our
Okay.
bet.
Okay, if you put
And
it like
so-
that, yeah.
So I would probably make this 15 or 16. I would be playing 3-better fold.
Yeah, there's
Clearly
no
the
there's
ni-
no
clearly the-
calls here. Definitely.
Yeah, the nines are at the bottom of what I want to do here. There might be calls here. I do disagree with Derek a little bit, especially if I know hero behind here is, if I have any sense that he is weak or just not apt to raise a lot, then I would have some flats here.
Oh, I have no calling range in the small blind.
Yeah, yeah,
So ever. Since Joey told me that.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
think,
think that's fine.
yeah, definitely is fine.
So like if that's an error in my game, it's not a big one. So
No, it's no,
I just
it's,
have no absolutely no I just got that out of my game totally.
yeah, then
no
you're
co-
probably fine for it. That's
Yeah.
So
fine.
Sutton's making a good point. A lot of this is player dependent on big blind, right? Big
Yeah.
blind's a good player. He's gonna sense, he's got 2 cap ranges behind an RFI. And he's gonna expand his squeezing range, because there's a lot of dead money out here. However,
So-
if hero, is a more passive player, maybe it makes sense to set mine. I, do have a flatting range here, actually, for better or worse. Arguably for worse, because I play in games where, there's no weak free, so. But it's gonna mix here, I think. Depending on rate structure. Alright, so he set mining and boom.
What
There
do
we
you know,
go.
Joe?
Oh, yeah.
It's the way to do it.
So please don't. Don't. So, this is an argument for what I was talking about before, which is just a check, right? Playing out of position, I mean, he's playing to a gut shot. It just doesn't make sense to bet here. It sucks because you're gonna lose the hand a lot, right? But you have to accept your fate, which is you're multi-way out of position. Fast
Oh.
plays. What do you guys think of this sizing?
Stinks. Too small.
So what size would you use here? So a lot of people, I think here use like a 17 big blind.
I was thinking
check
like
raise.
15 or 16. Yeah, I think, some of the guys that are doing some exploitive stuff like the Hungry Horse model, he says use a 4x size here. He says a lot of people default to 3, go to 4.
Okay.
I like that.
So-
Yeah.
But I would be at 15 for sure at the minimum.
Yeah, pot size bet for me.
Cause like
Too
this
small.
just, yeah. I
Well,
mean, again,
He's got
there's,
he's got definitely odds to call.
Does
It
he?
is 10-7 almost. With anything that's
Um,
reasonable. That's probably not reasonable what
Well,
he's got, but
we can argue about implied odds, but yeah. Well, I'm influenced by seeing the hands, obviously, but
I mean, there's just
Um,
a lot of hands that we can get calls from in this spot, and there's gonna be, like, I'm trying to make this SPR get low quickly. I'm playing out of position. I have a very strong hand, and he has a ton of second best hands, or not even second best, but top pair holdings.
this guy is also declaring, I got a shit good hand, right? I love my hand. I just bet big into 2 people out of position. I B50, the 2
Yeah.
people out of position.
I think we can go bigger, and if we had done,
Yeah, I agree. I think this is bigger.
so yeah,
So he's
'Cause
got
we
the
could-
betting lead now. He really doesn't like this turn.
the
Turn
big
is not
cooler
great.
comes on the turn.
This is like arguably one of the worst turn cards in the deck, right? 2
Which
draws
is
got
why you
back.
should have bet big on the flop, right?
Yeah,
well,
so he,
it does make you less worried about the flush draws the bigger you bet, right?
I don't think you're getting flush draws to hold on flop to a big hand.
No, but some of the small ones might. But yeah, you're definitely going to be hard pressed, but that's the other reason to bet big is they will call.
I mean, and sometimes you're gonna get a shitty. I mean, you still got, even if he gets here, you still got equity, obviously, with
Yeah,
set.
absolutely.
So what do you, well, what do you guys think? What are you doing here if you've got the set of 9s? With this turn card?
See you later, John.
Thanks for coming, John. Going again tomorrow, if you wanna come, same time. Yeah, Arthur's in the check school. I think I would check what this is the worst, one of the worst hands in the deck. I think I check. Anybody else? Coming at this from a different perspective?
You're drawing to a boat at this point.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I mean, that's I think that's reducing the range too much. I mean, he could easily have a hand like at ace jack with the ace of spades that would call small bet.
Yeah.
He could have turn 2 pair with king jack pretty easily and reasonably.
But you kind of hate the king at this point, the king of the spades.
I mean, but the king also, I mean, the king also eliminates a lot of flush draws for this guy, right? Like a lot of his flush draws as an early position opener are going to come from ace and king X. And now that is reduced. So I think that is a strong case for checking, but I think that in theory, we can continue to bet here with a small sizing.
What's, so like a B30 or B10, B30?
Be 30. Be 30.
I'm down with that. I can see it. I think we just down bet. I think in theory, we down bet too, right? When. This is an equity shifting card. This is an equity shifting card, I think, to the caller. This is actually a weird side, weird position because we're flatting.
Did we flatted though? I
Yeah,
think we have more in this configuration. I think that we as the flatter are more apt to have spade combos than this early position open.
alright, I could see that. We check raised. Okay. I can see that.
It's kind of hard to know since
Yeah,
there's
these ranges are
technically-
whack.
yeah.
To use a technical term. People even say whack anymore.
But and the other thing to consider is here, he is not incentivized to raise even if he does have even if he does have a flush. Because he gets to play in position here.
Yeah, true.
So he doesn't really have a whole lot of incentive to raise if we bet.
Unless he has a flush.
I mean, yeah, but we
If he
still
has a
have,
if he just made his, like, if we bet like 10 and he shoves it in, then
Well, he can do that, Derek, but I don't know if that's his best play because he's got, let's say he's got the nut flush here. He's got essentially an invulnerable hand. Well, we know that's not the case, but, he's got another street in which to get value. And if he in position shoves here, what is out of position folding? Well, he's folding all his bluffs. He's making it a very easy game for out of position if he in position shoves this turn. He's gonna get some calls, but he's also gonna lose all the bluffs. So my argument would be that you have very few in position raises with the top of your range here.
well, he doesn't think that you have a bluff because you just check raise to minimum, and that's never a bluff,
Okay,
right? So he's already taken bluffs out of your range, right?
in position player.
Well, no, but like, how often have you seen someone min check raise with a bluff? Does that ever happen to you in your game? I don't even ever see it.
No, but he
So-
must think that he has some bluffs because he's bluffing.
Yeah. Oh, you're
which
talking
raises-
about the other way. Okay. I was talking about the other way.
Okay, no worries.
Like the nine.
So,
Player 9 knows that
so
player
this,
5
yeah,
is
this
not
is,
bluffing.
this is interesting. So, okay, he just calls, it's fine. Total blank. Check. I don't think you're folding a second. King sucked, but this is also a sizing tell here. I think this half size non-committal B50 is like stupid. You just call. Does anybody else? Anybody else folding? Anybody else raising?
Well, I usually don't very often make non semi bluffs on the turn and flop.
Excuse me.
So if usually when I bluff on the flop or turn, I make it a semi bluff.
Okay.
Like, do you have bare bone bluffs in your in your game?
Do I have no equity bluffs in my game?
Yeah.
I
Like,
hope
no
so,
equity, no.
but I don't think I have it on this line, on this betting action. I don't think I do.
Hmm.
I just think P5 should call, which it does. Alright, guys, this is our last hand. I hope you enjoyed it. If you, I'm gonna ask. Hey, Derek and Skate. Tomorrow,
Yep.
if you're around, come on time, because it was just nearly me talking to myself.
Okay.
Sutton saved me from doing that, but it was nearly,
Mhm.
it was just me and Sutton for the beginning. So,
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna start tomorrow at, also, I know this is a later time, so it's confused. We start tomorrow at, 12:15 New York City
Okay.
time.
See you at
Um,
12:15.
Yeah, because I have a inner dread of talking to myself for an hour. I
Me
already
too.
do that enough on my own. I don't need to talk to myself while it's being recorded. All right, last hand.
Yep.
This one's good enough. I think ace five does get to open this early.
Mhm.
Really?
That's not really a good option. This is another horrible option. I mean, this is, we already know
Ace
that.
five, ace five opens like that early?
Ace five limped. Well, let's see, what is going on in this game? So the first thing is we've got a poster. So UTG got impatient and posted.
Wow. When someone posts in the under the gun, I think, oh, that guy's raring to put money in.
Yeah, it's dumb.
I
So,
think I
okay,
noticed
whatever.
that.
So this side, so he's got a broken stack. This hand is already off to, flying start. Ace king should go to 6 or 7. I think I like Sutton's arguments about a bigger ISO size. This is
I do
dumb.
too. Two and
There
a
used to
half
be an
is
old
way too
school
small. 2.5 is way
strategy
too
that you just
small.
ignore flippers and use, but that's, I think we don't do that anymore. So this should be like 6 or 7. This is dumb.
And
It's
they all
technical
call,
term.
right?
I don't, yeah, this guy's gonna call. This guy's gonna call 3 ways. And wow. So ace king's not gonna make it to, it's not gonna make it to flop. I'm not taking sure down. So fine, I could see this. Makes sense. G7 has a shit ton of equity.
Yep.
Top pair. I don't think there's any reason to imposition raise here. But you got a marginal. Well, you're in the middle of the sandwich. Got marginal showdown, second pair. And well, you've got a combo draw.
Yep. You got
So I think this call
straight,
here,
got flush, got top pair, got
and none of us are gonna be here because I don't think we ever play ace five suited this way. All right, now it's gonna get interesting. Clearly it does because this pot's gonna
No.
explode.
But if someone limps,
That's how it's gonna get big.
if
So-
someone limps or posts, can you just flat
Sure,
call ace
But
five?
yeah, I mean, I think I have overlimp. I think there's an overlimp range. I don't, not everybody has an overlimp range. Some
Like-
people do.
Are there overlimp tables? Because we know it's not GTO approved to overlimp, but like if you're in an environment where everyone and their mother half the table open limps all the time, right? I was just wondering if there's any.
So, I mean, so
Overlimp
GTO's out the
tables?
window already when someone limps. I mean, we don't know about ranges that have been solved for with it. And you could solve for them. You could use a program like HRC or a program like Bunker Solver and try to sort out what someone's limping range is. I asked Jeremiah Williams about that once, and he said it just doesn't make sense to try to solve using solvers to try to solve those spots pre-flop. Because essentially then you have to assign a range to the limper. And then your strategy of ISOing is built off what limper's range is. But
Right.
in reality, what a human's limping range is all over the place.
No, but like, let's say I have like a couple terabytes of hand histories.
Okay.
I could just go out and say, "Hello."
Yeah.
tell me.
Yeah,
me
that's a
what the
different
range
story.
is.
So MDA is a different story. So MDA, I know that I'm sure there are coaching for profit stables that hand you pre-flop charts
Or
with
limpers.
what your ISOing ranges should be.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if they also have overlimp ranges there, I don't know. But I know that, you know, Jay Little does have an overlimping range that he talks about.
Mhm.
He has never released a chart. That talks about overlimp ranges. But like
I think-
speculative hands are gonna be really good, like
Yeah, ace
suited
five I think
connectors,
is
middle
fine
pairs,
to. I
speculative
think
hands at 100 big
ace-
blinds.
ace five suited is probably fine to overlimp. I think.
I think I prefer to ISO this hand. I think this is the magic solver hand.
Oh, this is
Well-
the magic ace five, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I
This
think
is our 3-bet hand. It's so good, right?
I'm too addicted to the magic solver hand. I think I'm gonna.
But the overlimping strategy is almost exclusively for late position. Like you are never going to want to overlimp.
Yeah.
In,
Ace
like,
five
hijack
hates
or low jack.
early position.
And I think there's also good arguments to be made. Like if you have ace five suited on the small blind and you have 2 or 3 guys that have limped, it went low jack, hijack, button limp, and then you're small blind with ace five of clubs. Like you're just never going to get that hand through the big blind and 3 guys who have already like volunteered to put money in. Like, it's just never going to work. And so I think you could like overlimp in like that sort of situation too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because you just will not get this bet through. So you need to make sure that you are raising with just a very strong range.
So your ISOing range in that situation you talked about is very limited. You just don't think
Yeah.
you're generating enough folds with the player class that is a limper and over limper for it to be worth it to invest a large segment of like,
That's
8,
right.
9 big blinds with ace five suited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Just make it a good one. Just make it a really tight linear range. And for whatever reason, they still call.
So it's kind of, so the argument then is with your ISO to limpers kind of balance lulls, like, fuck it. We don't need to be balanced. We're gonna have a linear ISO.
Hey, Scotty.
Yeah.
So now the question is, last question of the day, hey Scotty, so almost done. Last hand, actually. So how does this hand get up to 50 bigs? I don't know. We must have, well, I've
Gets to,
forgotten the action because we're talking, so let's watch.
it only has to get to 25, right?
I think it's 25. I forget.
25.
3. Okay, fine. Okay, he's gonna bet again?
Oh, geez.
This is insanity. Now we know.
There you go.
Oh, what? What? What?
So we're gonna end on this travesty of a hand after 3.5 hours.
I like to come back for the good ones.
You timed this well. You timed this well, sir. All right, we are done.
Great.
I hope to see you guys tomorrow at the same time, which
Okay.
is 12:15 noon. 12:15
Okay.
New York time.
All right.
All right.
See you
Thanks,
guys
Larry.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Alright,
thank
see-
you guys.
Everybody,
See ya.
See you guys tomorrow.
Guys.
Be there or be square.
I'll be square.
You're gonna miss it, huh, Scotty?
Yeah, I gotta
No.
miss it. Gotta work
Okay.
again. Okay. Bye,
No
kids.
worries.
Okay. See you guys later.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.